I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 5:12 p.m. And I guess like always, we'll start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Michael, would you please say the prayer for us, please?
Lord, we thank you for all the blessings you give. We for the time that we're allowed to be here on earth and do your will. Please guide us in the decisions and discussions that we do for the betterment of this district, and let us all get home safely. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thanks. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and two. We're gonna close the regular session meeting at 5:13, and then we're gonna go into executive session at 5:13. I'm gonna call this meeting back into open session at 6:56 p.m. I just want to thank everybody for being here. For some folks that have been to our previous meetings and some really familiar faces in the crowd, so we're happy that you're here. And we appreciate all the newcomers here tonight. This is the most people I've ever seen here. Not even close. Like 1/10 of this came one time. So thank y'all very much for being here. For our regular kind of attendees, we started early today to do some executive session stuff, so we've already kind of done all the introduction stuff. So we're actually going to go right into public comments. So I'll call item number 3, public comments. And I'll just start the list, and I'm really sorry if I mispronounce your name. And we're going to start with Elizabeth Herbison.
Alright, do we stand up and talk or do we come stand somewhere?
Whatever you feel most comfortable, man. Whatever you feel most comfortable.
My name's Elizabeth Emerson. I'm here tonight with my husband and our sons. We're 7th, 8th, and 9th generation Texans, and I'm just urging you to see to move to stage 4 draft. Please. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Ross. Gonna go to Sheridan Schaefer.
Try not
You're
to
more than
stand
welcome
in
to
the.
kind of come this direction.
Okay.
Right, perfect.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for being here tonight, for handling it so professionally, gracefully, as being here, us into your, well, it's not your home, your workplace. And yeah, real. But yeah, I'm 5th and 6th generation Texan. I grew up in Vernon, Texas, so along in Highland Lakes, voting on LJ. Lived in Austin for a while, now live in San Marcos. My husband grew up in Lakey, Texas, along the Frio River. And I think it's safe to say that every single person in this room is super passionate about the creeks and the rivers and the lakes and the springs that define Central Texas Hill Country. Right now, we're all reeling and feeling the pain from the drought that we're experiencing. That's been going on for a long time. It's dry out there, and we're seeing the depletion of a lot of our water. The Texas House Natural Resources Committee met just a couple weeks ago to have kind of an urgent interim hearing outside of their general legislative session to talk about the urgent nature of our aquifer health right now and sustainable groundwater pumping. And so there's many parts of Texas where it's still the rule of capture. If you can pump it, you can have it. And then other parts of Texas, we have our groundwater conservation districts. Those have a wide varying array of authority and legal and fiscal resources depending on how it's written into the Texas code. Like Edwards Aquifer and Barton Springs Aquifer have a lot more power, but some of the ones out here don't have quite as much power. And I know that there's instances where the water utilities feel like they have to meet the CCN and they have to meet all of their permit requests and all of their demands. But in reality, the groundwater conservation districts do have legal authority. Whether or not they have all the resources to enforce that in the current iteration of Texas code, is up to debate and practice. But you do have an authority to, or you do have an urgency to attend your current customers And these data centers are not a part of our community. They're not a part of our families. They're taking our valuable resources here in town. You know, the governor has already called for a drought emergency, and then the Hayes County Commissioner has also urged all utility districts to transition to stage 4. So we're asking that y'all please meet your own internal criteria and go ahead and transition to stage 4 to protect your current consumers.
Mr. John Roach.
Hello, everyone. I can't really add a whole lot to that. That was really good. I don't really ever public speak. This is my second time. Want to urge y'all, please consider stage 4 drought. Water, it seems like there's a grassroots movement growing about water around here. And I think people are getting really passionate and it's spreading like wildfire. So we're not gonna go away. We're gonna be persistent and, sad that y'all try to do the right thing.
Thank you.
But if the group keeps right there, it can run up.
Right. Mrs. Brenda, Hey, sorry.
Hi. Thank you for being here and letting us get to speak tonight. I'm new to the area, but I am first census generation here. Please move to stage 4. That's really all I have to say and back up what everybody else says. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. That's cool, man. What is that? Where does it come from?
Oh, don't look at
No, I like it. I think it's cool. Yeah. Annie Hagner. Annie.
That's me. My name's Annie Hagner. I get anxious public speaking, so for me to do it, I really have to care. And I mean, this drought has been going on since 2010. There's really not much to say that hasn't been said. So I really just urge y'all to move to stage 4. And why are we feeding machines and not?
Thank you. Mrs. Kaylee, is it Champagne?
Yeah, it's me.
That's cool.
I'll just sit, but I'm just echoing the sentiments of everyone else. I noticed that we, met the criteria for stage 4 back in September. And I'm just wondering, I don't know if I can answer, but why we haven't moved to stage 4. So thank you.
Thank you. Matt Garrison.
But we don't know, I was here last month, and there's a couple of points. The first is, I'm still giving an example of the Aaron Brockovich story in Fort McClellan, Alabama, where all these chemicals were dumped back into the aquifer, and they have contaminated that water completely. They made Fort McClellan, Alabama a Superfund site by the EPA and closed it and did a raised earth approach to try to reclaim most of it. I'm 284% disabled by the A standards because of the neuropathy and the nerve damage from drinking that water while I was there. I don't know what it's going to take for Crystal Clear and the other water districts to understand the exposure. I was here last month when you said that you didn't think Crystal Clear could sustain $1 billion lawsuit or a lawsuit from these $1 billion corporations. But when you look at the massive amount of people that are here, and if you count the number of households that you service and just average 3 people per household and $1 million a lawsuit, the exposure that you have by not doing the right thing and protecting the water that you provide to us. So I also urge that you consider the stage 4, and I'd love at some point for Crystal Clear to come out with clear guidelines beyond what you have written about what this board is going to require to move to a stage 4, because all of the boxes have been checked. Thank you.
Billy Boson. Boson.
He's coming.
Hello, Mr. Wilson.
President, board members,
Thanks for being here.
thank you. I'm sure others have much better ways of saying it. But I want to thank each of you as board members for doing your job and for crystal clear, because as the founders of this tried to provide for us, people, water, and for animals, I know that you're doing your best to provide for all of us. I know it's difficult right now. Many of us are very upset about the data center and the amount of water it uses, all those kinds of things. But I thank you for listening to us. I think this is a wonderful turnout, and I appreciate you being here. Okay.
Here's a familiar face, Mrs. Abigail Lindsay.
And now it's.
Give me.
There you go. Share.
You need to give another one after.
Oh, it's okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm not, my name's Abigail Lindsay. I'm not gonna read the letters, but, the lady before me, yeah, January 17th, the governor issued, the emergency response. On the second page, you'll see all the counties listed. You service all these counties. February 14th, or February 4th, Judge Ruben Becerra, he issued a letter calling for all water supply corporations to transition to stage 4. Next page, February 12th, he thanks that the Martinville Water Supply Corporation did transition to stage 4 drought. Next page is the stage 4. You need that, you know that, I've been telling y'all since September, October. The next page is what that means. It's A through E. And so once you trigger to stage 4, yeah, no new water meters, no expansion of the lines. I get it. It's gonna hurt the bottom line, but that's where we're at. We never thought we'd be here, but we are here. We are here. Okay, the next page, you are gonna see, this is an open records request that I got from you guys. It took me 6 months to get this. It's about cloudburst. So we have the numbers. We have the numbers, what they're gonna use for their power plant. It's going to be over 3 million gallons of water per day. That is just for the power plant. That I did not factor in the data center. This is highly redacted version I got. It took me 6 months to get this. You guys can go and look in the office and see the unredacted version, the full thing. I can't, but you guys can. Check out these numbers. The LUVs are gonna be 10,540 LUVs. I want to reiterate, 3 million gallons of drinking water per day for the power plant alone for cloudburst, okay? This is on your drought monitoring plan. This is, page 6 of 12. Cloudburst in 1 year will use over 1 billion gallons of drinking water in 1 year. All of this will clear the whole CCN, all of its customers in 2023 used 560 million gallons. Cloudburst is going to use double what we all use in 1 year. Nick, I'm serious. Look at these, look at the unredacted version. The next page, you're gonna see the Excel document. This is the numbers where I came up with. Please double check. But I'm not wrong. This is scary stuff. This is scary stuff, people. This is their presentation, Cloudburst gave at the Commissioner's Court in Guadalupe County. Listen to this. Cloudburst campus, they're only claiming to be using 24 gallons per day, 96 LEDs. They're not factoring in the power plant. They're just saying the data center. They're lying to all of us, and they're hiding.
I would say, Mr. You are a force to be reckoned with. Tenacious, yes.
Not gonna stop.
This is Jennifer Lindsay. That's hard to follow. I don't know.
She's my sister. Oh.
don't have the authorization in your own plan, board of directors or general manager hereby authorize and direct to implement the applicable provision of this plan on determination that such implementation is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare. The board of directors or general manager shall have the authority to initiate or terminate drought or other water supply emergency response measures as described in this plan. As everyone has mentioned, we've already met those thresholds in October of 2025. So y'all have the ability to put us into stage 4. Michael, I know, I see on your face, I know this is difficult for you. I know that, that you're looking out for your crew, and I find that very honorable. I know my money would help your crew out, and I love that in a person, but it's not worth the destruction. It's their drinking water too. It's everyone's drinking. I just want you to know your community supports you, and we both take forward.
I think it says Saunders.
Yeah, like,
It's there.
I'm still gonna sit down because I'm here in the front. I'm not gonna take up too much of your time. I'm just gonna echo what everybody else has been saying about stage 4 drought. I grew up in Texas, been in drought for just about my entire life. And I've had a lot of complaints about the way we use our water here in Texas in general, and these data centers are just kind of the last straw, you know, the most frivolous and inefficient use of water that we could possibly come up with. And I'm really happy to see all these people here. I came to one of these meetings a couple months ago. There's just kind of a few of us. And I don't think that that really represented the larger group. And then this here shows just like a handful of the larger group in San Marcos, Hayes County, Caldwell County, Guadalupe County, this whole area that is committed to fighting these data centers and engaged in it currently. So when we ask you to do these things, we're not asking you to step forward as our champion and fight on our behalf while we sit back. We're already out there doing this. We're asking you to come and join us in this fight. Thank
you. Sean Jones.
Hello, John Jones. I live out off Limekiln Road out in San Marcos. On my property, there was a runoff river from the Blanco that used to run behind it that was full when I moved here 6 years ago. I used to jump off, not worry about hitting the bottom. It was awesome. The last 3 years, it's completely dry. I mean, my friend's son has been asking if he can drive his go-kart through it. Like, there's not puddles, there's nothing. You go to Canyon Lake, I guess what I'm getting at is we don't pass the eye test. I mean, look around, we don't even pass the eye test. Abigail's can give you all the numbers, but you just look. And so we have all this industrial development that's come this way that, and again, the numbers will show that the amount of power they require, the amount of water they use, and we cannot support it. As we look around, we see what's happening. And so we clearly are meeting the standards required to go in stage 4. I urge you to go there. And, you know, what's the point of whatever revenue we're hoping for from these developments if, you know, whatever beautiful roads we build with them all lead to an empty riverbed or all lead to a house where we can't really drink our water. Like the future are our resources, not tax revenue. So stage 4 is.
Kara Finlandson? Thanks, sir. Finlandson? Kara Finlandson?
Kara Finlayson.
Keep the baby back there.
What's that?
Oh,
Yeah, I left my son outside though. He's adventuring, so it's good that he's not, so yeah, I'm Kara Finlayson. I have 3 children. This is 2 of them. I'm also a facilitator for Soul School, the homeschooling co-op that meets around the San Marcos area. And we are a nature-based homeschooling co-op, and our main tenets are to protect
and steward nature. Our name is actually Stewards of Life. So we're here today to invite you all to be stewards of life with us. The river is life and gives life to everything that it touches. And I don't know how it happened that a business has become the organization that needs to steward the water, but it has happened. And I feel like there may be this conflict going on because a business in some people's minds is meant to make money. But there's a conflict there, right? Because there have to be priorities and life has to be a priority. My friend outside was wondering how you could have clear objectives that say, this is what a stage 4 drought looks like, and then actually have to come in and ask people to declare it. I'm also very confused about that. When we have rules at home and somebody doesn't follow them, they don't get screen time. So everybody, I'm kind of confused. And I feel like maybe we need to put our screens down and go outside and connect with the water. And then we can make some better decisions about this declaration that needs to be made. And when you make that declaration, I want to hear, I do declare this is stage 4 drought, and we're going to pause all of our development until we figure this out. If you say no to these new developments, you will say yes to all kinds of new ways of sourcing water, like rainwater harvesting. That's something that all of our kids are learning about. In this drought, and let's say yes, all of these other opportunities that we can find to make the money that y'all need, because I want you all to have money too, I promise. Rosebud wants to present Jerry the trash guy. This is our Soul School Co-op made this art sculpture today for the board to remind you that you are water protectors, and that's your responsibility. She's going to do it. Do you want to hand?
That's why.
It's Jerry.
There by the box.
Yeah.
That's good. There we go.
There we go. Jerry. And the one.
Amber Lunsford.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm here to echo what a lot of our community members are saying, that we want to be in a stage 4 drought. We want to protect our water here. I apologize. I had something written on my phone and my phone died. And so, you know, being autonomous from technology and using our mental faculties is something that we all want for our future generations. These data centers and the use of AI is a threat to that. You know, the studies coming out showing that people's brain matter is literally shrinking after they use AI and become dependent on it are, you know, coming out, and all the studies coming out around humans' interactions with AI and how people are using AI, it's not really that beneficial to us. And so money comes and money goes, and that's not what sustains life. And so making revenue, you know, for billionaires and billionaire companies and hoping to get some of that, so that your future generations can then not have water to drink and not get to live on this land is just not a legacy that I think you guys want to have. And yeah, our water here is very sacred. We're already on track to be out of water within the next 30 years. All of our lifetimes of us and our children. And so it would just be, you know, to give this much water away to someone who really we cannot trust as a community, and we should not be trusting. We should be trusting our community members and not these billionaire companies who, you know, very clearly don't have our interests in mind. And this community does not love data centers. You know, Donald Trump loves data centers. And we made a plan this year to have tons of data centers be built. And I think we can all agree that that is not someone that we can trust with our future, and the future of our water. So, hopefully I'll do the right thing and put us in this for a drought and protect our water in the future.
Diana Weeby? Weeby?
Well, thank you guys for being here. I was looking at when Crystal Pier started in 1964. I don't doubt that when all this started. Would have thought that we'd be here today talking about robots. And also being in charge of water that really gives life. You guys took on a responsibility of the well-being of people. So that's huge. And so many things were already brought up, like what qualifies, the qualifications for a stage 4 drought and all of that. I don't even really bring up repetitive stuff, but I do have some questions that I just kind of, it confuses me. Sometimes I'm not sure what you guys would get out of, you know, approving to help out the data centers. But considering how long you guys have been around, without water, would you guys have business? Considering all the numbers are given, I'm not sure if you guys have thought about how throughout time, 10, 20 years from now, or even less than that, if there will be any water anymore to have a business. I'm not sure if there's enough money to retire and kind of see if people figure it out. Anyways, yeah, just bring up that awareness of how you looked up the impact that these data centers can make on the river and the water availability throughout time, but that's already been brought up with numbers. I don't know how long you guys have been around the area or enjoyed the river yourselves, but the aquifer gives life to more than just the river, and nature gives life to people and memories. Other rivers nearby already went silent. People are not floating them anymore, and they're even dry. It's kind of like a question of, are you guys choosing life for more robots or life for people and other magical creatures? Whatever decisions you make with how to use the water, I hope you don't carry the responsibility of the death of many species, memories, and public health. Choosing to trust, and I also, as a community, we want to like include you guys. Yeah. That's one of those questions.
Okay, thank you. Virginia Parker? Yes, ma'am, hi.
I'm not gonna stand either. I'm Virginia Parker. I live with San Marcos River Foundation, and we have been protecting the water quality and quantity in the San Marcos River for 41 years. So we haven't been around as long as y'all have, but I apologize because I haven't been to y'all's meeting yet. I've worked more closely with Martindale Water Supply Corp and City of San Marcos, and then Tri Community. And I don't know if y'all know his sold out in Tri Community. You don't. Because you would have reacted, but he's a pistol. And he calls me at least once a week to tell me how dire the situation is on the river. And that's because Tri-Community pulls their water directly from the alluvium along the riverbank. And they're getting requests for water for new developments. And they've literally told them, we can't give this to you during this drought because, and I'm gonna read this to y'all, but we are in, as you know, the midst of at least 5-year drought. We don't know when it's going to be broken. Droughts are only broken by floods, unfortunately. So we'll see when that happens. But this is something I read to planning and zoning in the city of San Marcos, as well as the city council, regarding the data center that was coming in. And it was to highlight the issue of
the water scarcity in our area. And the reason that that's important for y'all is because you guys pull out of the same buckets that the city of San Marcos and, you know, Martindale and Tri-Community and everyone in this area is pulling water from. We know Canyon Lake's low. If you've been to the Carmel Springs lately, you know it's like barely a trickle. And then the river has been flowing at about half the average for at least 3 years now. So this is what I told planning and zoning and council. So at the beginning of this year, the Edwards Aquifer Authority Board showed a total rainfall graph for the past 6 years in San Antonio, which typically gets more rain than we do, or has at least the past 5 years. They are 63.3 inches low as of January, and that's about 2 years worth of rain. So in a 6-year period, they were 2 years behind in rain. Also, the EAA climatologist models show an average rainfall going forward in the next few decades. So average totals, but more periods of droughts like we're experiencing, broken by heavy rainfall, leading to flooding. So that means less recharge for the Edwards Aquifer. And I believe some of y'all's triggers for stage 4 drought are in the J17 well and the Carmel Springs. Those two things have been low for a long time. So we are very much in support of you moving to stage 4 drought restrictions. Thank you.
Zane Porterfield? Zane Porterfield? Porterfield?
Zane, you're the next contestant.
Hello.
Hi, you guys. Thank you again for all being here tonight. I'm sure you will never forget this evening. Zane Porterfield, I work in watershed and groundwater and policy issues. The last time I was here, I really felt like I understood your situation, and then I spent hours and hours researching and learned that I had only barely scratched the surface. And you guys are in a really uniquely challenged position. You fought over and over again to maintain your CCN, to maintain what it is that you are have dominion over. And yet now we're in a position where your CCN encompasses some pretty incredible users that are way, way different in terms of a financial structure for this board. So I want to first encourage you and say that you are absolutely not the only groundwater district or special utility district dealing with this problem. And even locally, you are not the only one. There is a really strong need for you guys to get together along with a bunch of other water utility providers of different kinds to kind of coordinate on an inter-county level about what your needs are and also where your future water will be coming from. Because I think right now everybody's kind of operating in their own little silos and feeling a lot of fear around those decisions. However, up in East Texas, there's actually a pretty unanimous sort of group of water providers that have been collectivizing for the last couple of years. And that's how they got Prop 4 passed in the last legislative session. So some of your water development board grants even come from those actions of small water utility providers getting together and coordinating with their county officials and their city officials. And I have to say, it was so powerful and important that y'all spoke for yourselves at the last city council meeting related to a permit. Doing more of that only benefits you. There are all kinds of questions all the time about how you guys are doing, if you're stressed out, what your problems are. And I'm just here to support you tonight and say, you have a huge community around you ready to help you solve these problems. And there are electeds here tonight even who are here to basically get your challenges. Do not be afraid to over communicate about the situation that you're in, because Texas is at a hinge point with water. Water providers are more stretched than they've ever been. And there's a unique financialization of water going on as well. So recognize that we love and appreciate you as a public utility, right? As a public facing, open and transparent and homegrown utility. And we're here to protect you. So thank you so much for volunteering and doing this work that you do. And thank you to staff for dealing with a really challenging time. And I appreciate that you've opened the space for us tonight. Thank you.
John Booth.
How you doing, folks? I'm John Booth. I've been here many times. First and foremost, board, I talked to Michael on Sunday. The agenda that went out, whether it was a board decision or the staff, thank you. A lot of information out there. I hope everybody that's here for the data center downloads it and reads about the other issues that are out here. Because it's just not the data center and drawing water. There's multiple meter types that are coming on for smaller businesses. So there's a lot of information in there. One thing I will ask is the board's emails. Your names were all updated. Please put the emails on so all these people can keep you in the loop. I'll save my other comments for the agenda. Thank you.
Michael Martinez.
Hey, I'm Mike Martinez, I'm the new minded. So I can reiterate what other people said, the stage 4 restrictions are met, they have been consistently for a bit. So, you know, enforce the rules. After last week, 2 weeks ago, city council meeting relating to a similar topic, I went to jump in the river and, it made me happy because it was the river, but it also made me really sad because it was really low. And like the person said, well, the eye test, I didn't need to measure anything to say, oh, the river is really low. I can't really jump in like I wanted to. So I'm for enacting these stage 4 water restrictions because they just seem unnecessary at this point. Professional note, I run utilities for a job all day. I spent all day today designing pipe networks for a neighborhood, wastewater, fire lines, water lines, making sure they all fit and are compliant with like the necessary grading of the land for the neighborhood to work and all that. I recognize that as much as we all love water, there's also a practical reality of development is going to happen. People are going to need resources. There's kind of no stopping it. But there definitely is understanding it and doing so thoughtfully. If you don't have the water to give away, don't make the promise that you can give water to that party. And if you have all these people who live here, who are currently here, who need this water, and you have someone who doesn't live here, who wants to not even move here and live here, wants to just build something here to gain a profit from, why are they prioritized with those resources? People are gonna need resources, development's gonna happen. But let's do so in a way that doesn't ruin it for the people who are currently here, enjoying what is currently here. Because one day, it's gonna change so much that if San Marcos River was completely dry, how many people would stay here? So anyway, thanks. I urge stage 4 water restriction. Thank you.
Keith Bentley.
Hi, everybody. My name is Keith Bentley. I'm a resident here in Guadalupe County, just downstream on Geronimo Creek. And I've been in the area close to 20 years, and I'm here because I'm a little bit concerned. I'm concerned about data center development in our area. I'm concerned about the sort of pending water crisis that we have within the state. And so I'm here because these data centers are not something that is going to benefit this community. It's actually, it's going to be a disservice to all of us. And so I want to say thank you to all of you for hearing us out and for doing the jobs that you do. I understand you got to make difficult decisions. And I would say that there are times, I know when in meetings that you can say, if you stand up for you want, you believe in, every now and then somebody hears that, it makes a difference to somebody changes their decision. I'm just asking you, please do what you can with whatever's in your power to obstruct this. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Bobby, is it Levitsky?
Hello, my name is Bobby Levitsky. I'm an attorney with Savers Legal Alliance, and I am here because 2 years ago I got a call from Abigail Lindsay. At the time, I had no idea the scale of the crisis that was headed. I've been working on this issue largely every week, trying to figure out solutions here. I think you have a relatively easy solution before you, which is to just comply with your own drought contingency plan. That is a mandatory requirement under your own plan. We're not asking you to enter into stage 4 drought. We're asking you to recognize the stage 4 drought that we're already in. And under your own plans, you can't give permits while we're under stage 4. So if you're worried about lawsuits, not complying with your own plans is something that could be a red flag for me. So I would encourage you to please just recognize the stage 4 drought that's already before you today. And then let's work together. I mean, I do think that we're having a really good moment in this community where we're trying to figure out solutions collectively, because it's not just one utility. It's not just one city. It's all of us, and it's all over the state right now. There's a lot of energy to try to solve this problem. Please tap into that and work with us. We want to work with you on this problem because we know it's happening to you just like it's happening to us. Thank you.
Vicky Lake.
Hi, I'm Nikki Lake. I'm a resident of Guadalupe County. I moved out here about 6 years ago. But prior to that, I had lived in this area for about 20 years, closer on the west side of San Marcos. I moved out here because I loved the land. I moved onto a property that had been used as a kind of a storage facility for electrical transformers and old vehicles, and I've worked really hard to restore it. Planting native plants, conserving water heavily. Like, I can't tell you the measures I go to conserve water. I reuse my gray water. If we're having freezes, I fill up containers of water so I don't have to drip my water. And I've seen these major changes in my area from all this work that I've put in. I've seen birds coming back, insects coming back, mammals coming back. Created habitat. With this data center issue, I'm kind of surrounded by it. My property is likely just going to become a wasteland. I'm not going to be able to sell it. I'm not going to be able to drink the water. Honestly, I don't even really drink the water now. I treat my water with a filter because I'm afraid of the chemicals in the water that we have now. But the lack of water that we're going to have in the future, really petrifying. I really do appreciate you guys and the position that you're in. It's a really difficult position, but we all need water to live. These data centers are going to come in here, they're going to use us up, and they're going to leave. And they're going to leave a wasteland behind. And this area is gorgeous. This area is a very special place to all of us that live here, all of us that work here. I work in San Marcos. I'm on the board of San Marcos River Foundation. So I work really hard to conserve resources, and also to hear everybody's sides of the issue. But we all need water to drink, and we don't really need data centers. We do need restrictions on drought. That's why they exist. Again, like, we have to follow rules. So, it's a kind of an easy, I know not so easy from your side, but there is kind of an easy out, which is that's what we're supposed to be doing right now based on the current conditions. So I appreciate you listening to us.
Travis, is it Dollison? Johnson. Johnson, I'm sorry about that. Go ahead, Mr. Johnson.
Okay, my name's Travis Johnson. I'm a 10-year resident of the area. Love it. Fell in love with the river. Basically, I don't need to restate what all of these fine people have done research on and provided very clear evidence that we're in a stage 4 drought, needs to be declared. But I want to speak from a business point of view, because if you're thinking from that point of view, you need to think about a couple things. The data center only employs 100 people. 100 people are gonna use up 1 billion gallons of water a year. That's a lot for a couple hundred people. The taxes brought in for this data center are gonna be absolutely minimal because we're a very pro-business state, and I'm guaranteed there are going to be tax breaks on this data center. It's not gonna bring in the money that everybody thinks it's gonna be bringing in. If this data center does come into and gets it basically a yes vote, we are unable to avoid this. It is literally going to slowly kill this community. I will have to move. I will put my house on the market when I hear this go through, because I don't want to be caught like the young lady who just discussed how she's not gonna be able to sell it. That's a major part of my own personal wealth is my home. You will take the value of that completely out of my home, and I will have to move, and I will have to sell it for pennies on the dollar, which is really unfortunate because I love this place. I don't want to have to move because I can't flush my toilet or take a shower or water my dogs. Like, I'd like to be able to live in a community where we have that sort of access. It's pretty much, a necessity. So please be good stewards for the water. Declare stage 4.
Your opinion, I have a baby on there. Last things are opinion, their opinions, Eric and Young. Keep it short and simple. Been here about 10 years, I'm a resident of Oglesby County. I want to speak for my community I live in, Navarre Ranch. I know a lot of them, like to come out here and speak. I consider that, those, stage 4 drought conditions. I have my family here, I have my kids. These data centers, they're gonna suck the lifeblood of this community dry. And, I don't think we're prepared to see the long-term repercussions of that for short-term financial gains. I know I don't know who here is in it for the money, but consider that the money is gonna dry up, that won't last forever, but the people here, this is our community. We're gonna be here forever. We're gonna protect our water, no matter what. Yeah. I have signed up to speak on the list, but
You guys keep both pages? Should be at least 2.
Yeah, like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So people signed in, but they didn't necessarily put that.
People got it.
Yes, okay.
yeah, there's a lot
Oh,
of people I
sorry.
didn't call, but they just said they didn't want to speak. But if anybody wants to, they can. Is there anybody else?
Anybody that?
Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
My name is Lisa Fields. I, like so many other people here, are urging you to go with stage 4 drought restrictions. To have the residents and families here adhere to these restrictions, but let companies and just big water users go unchecked, that's causing people to be displaced. That's causing our entire community to eventually become refugees. And like Zane had said, I just got here. Like Zane had said, this community is really great and resourceful and knowledgeable, and we show up, look at this. And we can either come together and help you in the situation, because yes, it is a situation that you have to make difficult decisions as well to keep your livelihoods. But we're asking entire families to throw away their future if we just keep on giving water that we simply don't have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello,
Go ahead.
Robert Lee. I live not far from here in Martindale, pretty close to a tributary of the San Marcos River. And I'm here to echo a lot of the sentiments of people here to enact stage 4 drought restrictions, because we're already seeing it. I'm having to get our well drilled deeper because we're having supply and pressure issues at the house. And, but not only here, you know, upstream as well, right? I'm part of the Texas Master Naturalist class with some of my peers here. And we went to Jacob's Well last weekend, which, you know, is closed and had been closed for years at this point. And, the issues are already here and they're only going to exacerbate, if we don't take action now. And you have the community on your side to make the right decision. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, it's me, Emerald Loverito. I just wanted to say that, you know, when the AI bubble bursts and these places, and like we're seeing with cloudburst, like, raise your hand if you want cloudburst to go out of business and stop right now. We don't want the one even that exists. And so when you think about improving these things and all the raping of the land, to be quite frank, then what? We have all this impervious cover and is this an abandoned job site? Like, what does that do for business? So there is no business when there is no water. So think about businesses that can be drivers and think about how we can, you know, I've heard people are like getting in trouble. I don't know about here, but it was for saving their rainwater on their roof. Well, why? Like, you already made impervious cover. You might as well let us like capture that and like ration it out to plants, ration it out to pollinator gardens. Like, AI is disgusting in every way. There's nothing good about it. And look at these people. There's nothing about all these people. So, you know, we're people and we need to also end human supremacy. And data centers and AI in general is pure human supremacy and it's disgusting. So make the right choice. Thank you.
My name's Zachary Tyndall. I wasn't planning on speaking. I kind of wanted to hear what y'all had to say. I understand some folks have already been asking y'all to go to stage 4. So in y'all's discussion, I'm very eager to see what y'all's reservations are, what the concerns of the folks who you serve are. I'm personally, you know, do not want to see any data centers in this area, and going to stage 4 can prevent that or hold that off for a while. I'm in favor, but I'm also here to learn, so I want to hear what y'all have to say. I do understand that y'all can continue to find more allotments for water, but I would imagine with the way that the state is going, more and more utility districts and municipalities are going to be doing that. And I have to imagine it's going to be this crazy competition for those allotments. So I'm sure y'all know more about that than I do, but I'll be able to think ahead and thinking about this as a state, regional issue and a national issue, because it seems like things are going to get tough no matter what happens here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Generation San Martin.
Say it one more time. What was it?
Catherine Brown. Yeah. I just want to echo what everyone here has been saying. It's been pretty amazing. Everyone's got a wonderful different side of it. I also want to make sure you guys know that we are actually here supporting you, and I hope that's carried through everyone's comments, even though it might be from a different direction. We do want jobs for you guys. We want you guys to have better raises, better money. I know that's one of the issues too you guys are probably facing, but we just want to make sure you understand that we're all trying to support each other. We're not against each other in any way. We're one big community. Everyone trying to make great decision and right decision. So I like what one of the people said, please crowdsource so we can get these guys more jobs, better pay, but also keep our water for our communities. Like, let's work together. Let's not be together, because that's not what we're trying to say. We're trying to support all of us here today. So, and I'm also really tired of seeing all the rivers run dry. I used to have water on my property and now I don't. And it's happening everywhere like the other guy said. So thank you guys. Thank you for all the hours you can count the sleep you probably lost for all of this. So we really appreciate you guys. Thanks for letting us all be here tonight. We appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Is there anybody else? Oh, okay, you in the back, yes. Yes.
Hi, my name's Lauren Barch. I get a little nervous when I public speak, so fire people shakes. I live actually about 12 minutes away on Posey. But I grew up in Central Texas. I grew up in the Bastrop-Smithville area, and actually I'm gonna echo what everyone else is saying, but also that I've seen firsthand growing up what extreme drought looks like. When I was 12 years old, I was evacuated from my childhood home from the biggest wildfire in Texas history. The drought causes wildfires and like trauma. Like I want to build a community and I want to start family in this. I don't want to have my kids, I don't want to have to tell my kids that, oh, sorry, we can't water the garden, or we can't give Fido water today. We have to drink one little thing of water because we're rationing water for the status center. But I just want to push what everyone else has been saying, and I've seen virtually what extreme drought looks like, and it looks like this. That's my
Is there, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Okay, speaking in draft, my name is Presley Batkins, I'm a college student, and in making arguments here on what would be kind of counter argument to declaring a stage 4 draft, I get it. I work retail, I'm used to living paycheck to paycheck, and I understand how scary some of these numbers can look, and how quickly that gets scary. You know, these kinds of changes where at the end of the day, I gotta pay rent, I gotta take care of the things I gotta take care of. But I think it's incredibly important that whenever we make decisions that affect people on so large a scale, that we question who benefits really from it. There's always another way to do things, and we can figure those out.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to stand with all of my peers here. I don't have anything entirely unique to say, other than the fact that all of us here today, again, are here to support you. There are other solutions, there's other paths and ways forward. I have been a member of the community here in Kimberly and Martindale for the last 2 years, and I am I know I'm at least a 4th generation Texan. I think I'm probably 5th or 6th, actually. Either way, my experience living in these communities for the last couple of years, I've learned so much about groundwater, and as far as the community surrounded by the river, and like everyone uses the word to describe the river. I think you can guess sacred. And the history of this place goes back so far, and I've learned so much just living here from the passion of this community. If you don't consider your own regulations in that and don't move us for a better sense of protection and displace people out of this community, I don't know any like other place so special that I've experienced, and I've lived in a lot of places. My dad was military, and so was I. And honestly, this has been one of the most healing places for me my entire life. The people in this community, the energy that you get walking into this place, there were bubbles flying in the air. Because we're so here together, and I just urge you to remember that we are all standing here with you. I really appreciated other people who reminded us all that we all drink the same water. It is our common ancestor, as one of my friends behind me have mentioned. It is not a bipartisan issue. It is something that we all can get behind because it serves us all, and we should serve it back. And yes, please just move into the stage 4 drop. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Jordan Moser, and I love what everyone has said. And so I'm just gonna bring up some maybe out there ideas because our imaginations are very powerful, okay? We have to be able to think outside the box. When we put water into pipes, we call it a resource. We really discredit it because it is consciousness. Water is consciousness. That is the miracle of life we all carry inside of us. And so I want to inspire each of you to blow up your conceptions of what you're even protecting and what you have the authority over, because It's greater than you even know. It came here. It's extraterrestrial. The seeds of life, the amino acids, they were on the same planets that populated this beautiful planet with water. Okay, how beautiful is that? And you have a part of that story. And I just want to put the idea, even though it might seem, far-fetched in the middle of business-friendly Texas, but there are people throughout human history that have given personhood to their waters. Okay, there are people who are doing it again today in different countries. So we're narrowly focused on these things, and I know that your actual intelligence, not artificial intelligence, is going to guide you, because you don't get to this place by relying on something like that. Okay, it is embarrassing to admit to you. It's like, hi, I have a penis implant. You know what I mean? It's like, I have intelligence, so I have to use this thing. So, sorry. I usually use that joke with friends, so. I know, we're all friends. But what I want to say, put the idea in your mind. We have this extraterrestrial water. We have this beautiful geology that makes these mysterious rivers of consciousness beneath our feet. Okay? Give it personhood in your mind, in your spirit, in your soul, and walk through your bureaucratic, steps with that, okay? Or challenge your imagination to think beyond this, okay? I love you all so much, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. Or God.
Is there anyone else? Okay, well, I just want to, the board just really wants to thank y'all for being here. We've never experienced anything like this. I think we all think it's pretty cool. I mean, like, we love it when people get involved. We've asked for, involvement for many, many years. And we've recently started getting it because of these controversial issues. But look, we love the fact that you're here. I think that y'all did a wonderful job articulating yourselves. It's obvious that the passion shines through. And so, just thank y'all for being here. I do think it's important. Everybody knows that, as a member of this board, we are elected officials. We're elected just through general elections, but we are not paid in any way. And so there's no financial benefit. If anything, it costs us money because we have to take off from work or close our businesses. So the only thing we get is a sandwich at the meeting. So we hear you. I mean, literally the only reason to be on this board is if you care about the community. And so all these members certainly do. And so thank y'all very much for being here. I am going to just move into the just general items now. I will say y'all are all welcome to stay all night if you want. There is no.
What the core of the issue is, like.
Well, we're not allowed to answer questions, but I can tell you that there's no data center vote tonight at all. And it's not even up for consideration.
What about straight moving to stage 4 drive?
And that's not on the agenda either. And so neither of those items are actually on the agenda. They're just a bunch of kind of administrative things, normal business.
What would it take to get that on the agenda?
We could talk about it. I don't know. And we're not really allowed to get into it. I mean, we understand what y'all are saying, but I guess I am allowed to say, maybe you can stop me, but I'm allowed to say that we have very diversified water sources. It comes from lots of areas. So that does factor into how or when we can go into these, because if you look at some of the aquifers, yes, they are very low. They might meet those qualifications, but we have water coming from lots of places. So it is a little more complex than maybe what you might think it is. Because it's not that we don't care. We probably would have went into it if we could have, but the lawyers probably gonna get mad. But we can maybe put it on the agenda. It's obvious that y'all care about it, so we can maybe explain. Maybe we can put this on the April agenda to explain how we come to these decisions with diversified water sources. So yeah, I think that's we're not having a March meeting, so we'll put that on the April meeting agenda.
So you won't even consider stage 4 until April, even though you've met the conditions in September?
Yes.
And how is that acceptable?
It's not a question. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't get into it. It's complex. So if you came to the April meeting, you might can see our side of it, kind of thing.
I know it's complex. There's scientists and lawyers and all kinds of degrees in this room, right?
Yes.
You know it's complex.
No, it is, we're not trying to discount your feelings or anything like that, but.
It's not about feelings.
That's not feeling.
That's not about feelings.
Life.
Very bad.
This is literally people's life.
Well, yeah, but we're only allowed to, we're always allowed to take action on the action items, that's all, it's just, and that's not action. Okay, all right, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to move on with the agenda, we have a lot of items to discuss, and so. I'm gonna move into item 4, consent agenda, item 4A, approve the minutes from the January 22nd meeting, for B, approve the November financial investment report, item C, approve the December water loss report. Item D, approve February 2026 funding report, and consent E, approve M&S report, CCSUD capital improvement plan.
Items 4A.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve all the consent agenda items, the further discussion. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Looks like the ayes have that. Okay. Just gonna give it. All right, moving into our regular agenda, items. I'm gonna go into 5A. This is an update discussion, possible action, personnel general manager appointment. And so, I wanted to comment on this, and I wanted the board to consider, appointing Mr. Michael Saldana, as our general manager. You know, and, my personal view is that, you know, anyone who has been on this board for any amount of time can see that we have made substantial progress in policy change on that. So I really do feel deep in my heart that we have moved the needle more in the last 3 months than I have in the last 5 years. You know, and you know, Michael, that is a credit to you. So you have done a hell of a job. You know, you got a new board, you got new board members. You know, there's a lot that goes into this, but I really feel that you have risen to the occasion. You know, Jennifer, I want to thank you too, because, you know, you have also been, you know, a port storm, you know, a stabilizing force during the transition and pivotal in this company's future. But I do think that you've done a great job, Michael, and, you know, you're really responsive to the board. That's not something that we were used to. And I really do feel comfortable, with you at the helm, of running this company. And so, with that, I don't know if anybody else has any comments.
What you said. No, I agree. You really have done a big difference. I hear it from the customers, which is my main concern. And I know with the new board, it's a tall order, and you've risen to the task. I know I bug you a lot. I ask you questions about this, ask you questions about that. And weekends, weekdays, whatever, you answer my questions. Like the President said, it's a night and day difference. The attention the board is getting, the answer that it's getting, night and day. So I'm definitely in favor of appointing you as manager.
Is it interim or is it?
No, permanent. He's been acting manager right now. That's what we want to appoint him as manager. Any discussion? Anything?
I just want to say that because there's a lot of crystal clear employees here, I mean, You know, it's no secret that I've been deeply unhappy with this company for many years, but I'm no longer unhappy. And you have 100% my full support, Michael, and I think that you have you've exceeded all expectations. Sir.
It's funny you mentioned that, mentioned to Jennifer, before I used to see the CCSUD logo, and go, oh, no. And now it's like, hey, CCSUD, it's like, it really is. And this, I noticed that reaction.
I can assure you, it's not a one person task. It is an opportunity that leadership is a privilege, and I am, very, very excited about the opportunity like we discussed. I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm not going to shy away from the difficult conversations and the roadblocks that are the potential, imperative and important items that we have to deal here with as the district. Again, I do appreciate y'all's support. I cannot do it without this staff or with this crew, and I think them showing up here tonight kind of is a test of that. So again, all comments are greatly appreciated. But again, it is a team effort, and I think the team that sits in front of you, that wears the crystal clear logo on a day in, day out basis, are executing our vision going forward, with customer service being a very important, the most important thing that we need to take care of here, and just being responsive, courteous, respectful, and ensuring that we accept that challenge to change the narrative of what crystal clear has been known to be to what it definitely could be.
And as a customer, he answered the text, excuse me, Sunday. When I was on the website and downloaded the agenda, and I was shocked that all the items came out, even though they were dropped for today. I sent him a text acknowledging that he was doing a good job. So I appreciate that too, as the customer.
If you can make our most unhappy happy, that's like a miracle.
Again, I wear this with my staff. We succeed together, and we hold ourselves accountable together. And I think that, again, it's just an extreme, it is a very pivotal time for the district. And I do feel very, honored to be considered for this position. And I feel like I will, along with staff, we will take the vision of the directors. We plan to implement it in several different ways.
As a possible action, I'd like to recommend that we appoint Michael as our general manager.
Motion by Director Askin. Second by Director Patterson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Congratulations, Mike. Set Mike's salary at the end of the meeting. Okay, moving on to 4B, employee recognition.
So moving on to the employee recognition, we had, let's see, so,
I'm sorry, 5B, that's it.
employee recognition, our employee of the month, today, this month was actually, he's here in the crowd, is Brandon. He was just recently promoted to operations lead. He's been with the district for a little over a year, almost getting closer to 2, if I'm not mistaken. In August will be here 2 years. He comes to us with experience, but he's done a phenomenal job in stepping up as we were looking for somebody to step up to assume the position that Mr. Johnson once held here at the district. So he is our employee month. So thank you very much, Brandon, for showing up. Continuing to build retention here. We had several employees make their year mark, 2-year marks and stuff like that. I think that's Brad's fixing to graduate from the Emerging Leaders Program. We had a thing up in Austin this past week, I think week before, and it was just another opportunity to show on a Texas level the statewide level crystal clear and what we're doing, the employees and staff to go out there and represent the district in that kind of light. So that's kind of part of the reason, the March is a little adjusted, but again, great job in what he's been doing there. overall staff has just been working their butts off. And, so as far as, I have nothing else unless anybody else would like to add anything as far as employees go. But that is again, just something that we plan to bring to every agenda going forward, is taking the time to represent those that are out there busting their toes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 5C, update discussion, possible action, additional staffing. Now, before I give this to Michael, I will say this is going to be one of those things where it's okay to disagree. Obviously Michael has my full support, and I think he's great. I don't actually support this because I'm going to be a no vote, but I told that Michael that he could try to convince him otherwise. My reasoning behind the no vote really is just, it's not that I don't think we need the people. It's just that if we're gonna add $500,000 of employees, I think it should be done through our normal budget process. I mean, but only because as we talked about, the only way for us to raise money is some sort of, I worry about what this could do to our rate structure, but these are all things that we could be kind of discussing in budget. I mean, the board talks a lot about how high our water is. It is too high. And I think a lot of the new board members are it's gonna be eye-opening when our budget process starts in the summer. I mean, our budget's almost double fiscal years. And so the money has to come from somewhere. I do understand the need for the employees. It's a board decision. I'll just be a no vote, but the board, this most certainly can do whatever they want, and Michael will be for it.
Yes, sir. And I do appreciate that, sir. And it is, something that is a pretty, aggressive, I would say. I feel so passionate about this that, even within the last 6 minutes of me being the full-time general manager, that I do feel very, very passionate about this, sir. And I did explain that to you. So my intent is to even, to flip that right now. Again, this is just our attempt. Jennifer did a very phenomenal job of putting some verbiage together in the board packet that kind of spoke to this. So this is kind of going to be more of a visual representation. So kind of getting into the bigger picture, just kind of explaining how vast we are, from the very top corner to the very bottom corner. It's about 26.4 miles as the crow flies. So it is, and for those of us that, the board members that have been out there, that have journeyed the district, I mean, from that 6 hours worth of part-time, how vast we are and how much of an undertaking it is. But again, just kind of showing where we're at the office, that Marcus, again, he's very willing just to kind of get everybody oriented. So I know this was something kind of later on the agenda, Mr. Benavides, but I think this is going to kind of tap into some of the process questions I think that you have for how staff works around things. So this is an internal Teams chat. All the staff has on their work phone, they have a Teams chat downloaded, and it's also the CSR. So this is how everything kind of gets through. So you have the general that just all company, the blast, every time there's something that needs to be sent out on blast, disconnect day. So, you can kind of read self-explanatory. The one that I'm going to kind of hit on is the leaks, service orders. So if you look over here to the right, Mr. Matthew here, Matthew was called out to a leak off of 4713 Redwood. So at that point, it was at 11:49. He created a non-emergency. He's requesting a non-emergency service order. He called and locates our CSR Litzy. She then puts it in the Teams chat, and then we got to it. So that was last Thursday, and this was yesterday. I believe the guys got to it on site to work it on and Dustin. You will see the name Bubba. If they're not referenced a little bit later, this is Dustin Crowley, but he is AKA known as Bubba. So moving on. So this is the common service order, what the staff has and what they see. Again, I just blocked out the name and personal information, nothing crazy on there. There's nothing, I just, wanted to make sure that was there. Personal information. Again, there's that same service order or that same locate number. If it's a non-emergency, they call in locates. It takes 3 days for locates to go out there and do it. The crew marks the ground, so that's why it kind of is one of those things that we follow back up on.
What decides if it's non-emergency or emergency?
So that's going to be
I would say mostly employee discretion unless it's something that's, John, as John is here, I'll let him kind of speak to that, the leak sleep, if you don't mind standing up, talking real quick.
So high water loss, property damage, as well as damaging roads, flooded properties, with property damage,
Was that your property?
risky foundations.
It looks like Sexton Road.
No, similar, but not quite.
We get that about 4 times a year.
Well, I appreciate you staying there. So as John explained, those are the factors, bubbling, pushing water, causing,
Road damage,
property damage, causing pumps to run longer than they should run, tanks to not fill the way they're supposed to at the speed. So those things, that tend to happen, that's where, so this one you can clearly see, the grass is green, the cows have enjoyed, some of the water that's in there, and, so that's why I feel confident in saying that, yes, there is puddling, but man made a great policy, and if this was a quote unquote non-emergency.
Well, I'll also add that any disruption of service is an automatic emergency.
Okay. So i.e., even if it's a jumper to a single, structure house where the service line blew or whatever the case may be, that turned into an automatic, emergency. So this was, and again, this kind of speaks to the detail, 2-inch, gray line, that's not scheduled, correct? No, so just some of the aging infrastructure that we have, 2-inch clap, and then this was the smooth up that was able to happen based off the fact that, there was enough, the ground wasn't, too terrible to where, I believe, well, this was you, correct? That you were able to go out there and somewhat make it smooth. Again, the smooth ups are gonna tend, so I'm gonna circle back to that, Mr. Reiniger, as far as on when it goes into customer service and how fast we're able to react to these things. So this is in your board packet, water loss reports, everything that we do, everything that the crew does is really doing what we can to ensure that we are not losing water. Again, we dove into this, we can dive into this a little bit further, but again, just kind of this is in your board packet under the consent agenda. So if any of the directors have questions, please feel free to stop me. But again, this is just kind of basic data that shows water loss in graph form, the rolling average, and again, the leak counts and some of the things these crews work on. And then I'm just going back to this, all right, saying, hey, here you go, here's a service order. And I'm gonna put some context to that because this is what we're currently dealing with right now. Each line is its own service order. So what you have here is you have a check leak. That's where it kind of all starts. And that's usually if a customer calls in a check leak. So that's kind of, you can kind of see customer called, customer notice, X, Y, and Z. That's not to speak to, what the crews are out there finding or what we are out there finding, and to kind of take a step back, and he's gonna hate me for this, but our risk, I know we talked about having an employee that just hit 40 years, and he's sitting back there, Mr. Russell Herzog. He knows this, there's no map that this man, he knows where everything's at. I mean, that is a wealth of knowledge that we're grateful to have every single day. So once we determine that it goes from a check leak to a repair leak, again, each one, just to put it in context, each one of these is its own individual service order. This is, I just pulled this last Monday, or I'm sorry, I pulled this on Wednesday, this data right here. So it continues, more repair leaks. It continues again. I started putting the numbers there to kind of show you the context, repair leaks. And of course the dates are coinciding with it a little bit sooner. And then again, this is where we tend to run into a lot of our customer service issues, where we get to a leak, we repair the leak, but either the ground the soil is too disturbed, it's too wet, it's too much of an issue. We have to come back and we have to do a smooth up. So the crews will put in that same leak chat, requesting smooth up back for this address. This is, I would say, we don't really have any stars here. I don't know if you want to speak to how often, the ladies up front deal with getting calls, repeat calls from customers that are saying, hey, you were out here at our property, you tore it up, when are you gonna come back and get to it? And
Say on a daily basis, at least the ones that are a little bit, that were done back in months ago.
so, again, just kind of represent, and these smooth ups, we can't get to these smooth ups because we still have the ongoing leak count, which I believe today is what, John? 32, I don't know, 4. So somewhere between 30 to 40 leak counts. So again, to get back to these smooth ups, we gotta get to the leak, we gotta get to where we're taking care of what's leaking already. So, I relate that again, back to just customer service, and with that being one of the big priorities of the board, I just kind of want to put that in context. This was just kind of something in general. This speaks to one of the asks that we're going to go for. This is the monthly disconnect list. January is when we closed due to the weather. So that one, that number is a little lower, but this is just going to show that the numbers are going to keep growing. This is when disconnect day comes and staff has to run the reports to go out there and unfortunately, follow the process, follow the rules to where we have to suspend service or cut a customer off or disconnect a customer. That's 110 connections that they have to drive over this entire district to get to. And currently, that's going to be one of the areas that we asked for. This is on-call schedule. So the reason I have this up there is because, like Jennifer kind of talked to in the report, is what we're trying to prevent to, or what we're getting to, is where we're getting to not quite to that burnout level, but it can get there. The weeks are becoming more consistent on when crews are out there longer, especially with some of the major repairs that do tend to happen late at night, because that's water tanks fill in the evening. That's what the pressure builds up on the pipes that are in the ground. So what, Brad, if you want to speak to, when the crews are out all night, let me stop you there, actually. You want to speak to how the whole on-call process works really quick?
Yes, the on-call process is a 3-man crew. You have SCADA personnel who takes any after-hours phone calls regarding customers, leaks, outages, anything like that. So he's acting as a CSR after hours, also facilitating our entire SCADA system, basically running our system from his phone, monitoring data, things of that nature. And then you have your first call, your second call, which are pretty much your guys that are going to be responding to emergency leaks or any outages or anything like that, investigating why an outage might occur. And so you can see here, like how that is structured week by week, 3-man crew. Typically you'll have every week a rotating 3-man crew. And as you can see here, there are a lot of the same names in that rotation, very consistently needed for coverage for personnel that have maybe left the company, and that kind of cascades itself to the need for coverage. So I mean, you can see Bubba's name on there with that times.
So but to kind of get on that again. So SCADA, they're monitoring. So technically, first call, second call aren't dealing with phone calls. So that's why so something happens, SCADA, customer calls in. If it's something that needs to go out and be checked, SCADA calls first call goes out there. He determines whether it's he tries to solve the issue if he can. If it turns into an emergency repair, he gets out there, he brings somebody. That's where he calls second call comes in. And for safety reasons, clearly we want no less than 2 men on the job. At some of these really interesting areas of the district, like i.e. Redwood and other places where there's jumpers that go across in the right of way and they go into people's driveways, that tends to kind of delay things. So rule of thumb is before anybody else is called in that isn't even on call, all 3 operators that are on call will go out there first. And then if for some reason it turns, whether it's a big project, they'll get with Brad, and Brad is the one that authorizes any other reinforcements per se. But what tends to happen, or what has been more kind of reoccurring lately, is that the on-call gets stuck to work until 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. And then for them to come in at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're dealing with fatigue, you're dealing with potential, again, just trying to look at it from a safety perspective. So we'll get to the specifics on what I feel would best, ease the issue as well as handle some of these issues here in a second.
How many people are there that handle?
I should get to that, sir.
Okay.
Right here, give me 1 second. So this is how we stand right now. So this is the organizational chart as it stood 36 minutes ago while I was still the assistant general manager. You have myself, of course, we're all report to the board. Myself, you have HR, IT, you have the managers of Stephanie, Brad, and Yesenia, which I apologize if the M's still there. I'll get it fixed. And then Over here, you have underneath Stephanie, you have the inspectors, the senior inspector, again, Mr. Herzog, Dustin, JR, Andrew. Those are the guys that are out there, looking at all, making sure that anything that the crystal clear spec is being followed as it could be followed. They're out there at the subdivisions, they're out there. Steph, you wanna, am I saying, missing anything?
No, so these inspectors go out to any project that is, whether it be internal or external. So if it's going to be a CIP project, an inspector is assigned to that. Any non-standard agreement that it has internal or external infrastructure, an inspector is assigned to that. They have assigned areas, they stick to them. That's pretty much it.
And then you have, and these are usually senior personnel that have been in the company for, or in the, water utility industry for multiple years, that, 40 in some cases. Again, so then we have us, I know, Mr. Vivian, you know who Ray Lynn is, and then Jessica, and then Trey's our lead, our locate technician. You have the leads, so Josh is, again, Mr. Vivian, you know, Josh is, he runs, he's responsible for the day-to-day maintenance of the vehicles. We call him the shop yard manager. He's responsible for ensuring that, we have the spoils we need, the crews have the parts they need. He's ensuring that that the crews are ready to go in the mornings. Like, they're not looking for parts, they're not looking for tools, they have what they need to get to, and the vehicles are in good running condition. He's the jack of all trades, and he is very, very organized. If you care to ever go look at the parts or the shop, you will see his attention to detail. John is the team lead that y'all met for leaks. Cheryl is the team lead for leaders, so she is right here as well. Ryan, he's our wastewater lead as we were beginning to get into wastewater. And of course, Brandon was the employee of the month that's who stood up there. So those leads tend to be they're still non-exempt, correct? However, they are on the upper echelon when it comes to their pay scale. So therefore, they don't do on call just for the sake of for fiscal responsibility. So the ones that do on call are the ones that are currently down here in the red, right here, Mr. Benedict, to answer your question. And that was the assumption that the assistant general manager role that was there was gonna jump down automatically to leads.
So someone leave, or that's a new?
That's so there was a general manager position, assistant general manager position.
No, I'm speaking about the team in
Open. No, this one right here, man?
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. So there was an assistant general manager role and a general manager role, and with me moving up to the general manager role, my FTE the FTE that was the assistant general manager is gonna be moved down to leads.
Okay. Yeah.
So that still keeps us at where we're at 35 FTEs currently. So, the next slide is gonna be, what we're asking for. And, it is not a,
You have your printouts of this?
yes, sir. And I can forward it to you. I can print it out to you. I can do
Whatever
whatever
you right now, so I can like look at them side by side.
I have it here. That's up. There's two stacks on that office. So this is what we're looking at right now. This is what we would look at. So we as staff, when I say staff, I mean Stephanie and I, or sorry, Stephanie, Jennifer and I, we're looking at, for the sake of me understanding, how important a chain of command can be and how effective it can be if it's delineated the correct way. We feel the need to, kind of go from seniors to supervisors for the lead positions. And then we would utilize the crew leads down here, not necessarily, leaders may not technically need a lead in that crew yet. Same thing for, water and wastewater, even though we do have, we are starting up our wastewater division, but right now, all operations officers are still kind of playing both roles. So what I will kind of say, when you look at this, when you go from this one and then you go to this one, what we're doing right now is we're essentially doing this already, but we're doing it with this amount of people. And what I mean by that is we are pulling people from their assigned duties that they are normally doing, whether they're inspectors, wastewater operations, or even we're just essentially playing shuffling pretty much every single day. And that is not an understatement. You got both different copies. Okay. And this this might be a couple versions ago when I printed those out, so, if they're not completely up to date. I apologize about that. So we're essentially playing, shuffle the personnel as we already doing. So what would allow us to be successful or to attack a lot of these things is to allow the ones that are in the specific position they're in to be able to do their jobs that we're paying them to do. And currently we're not able to do that because it is a shuffle that we play every single day to ensure, most importantly, that lease has what they need on the days that there's disconnects or the days that there's meter reads. I can easily say that we pull from operations for every meter read, we pull from operations for every disconnect, or we're pulling from leaks. Usually we don't pull from, but leaks, you're gonna be leaks. Like, that's where we're gonna put everybody, because that is, again, everything just ties back into being able to reduce the water loss, being able to be responsive to the customer service, to the customers, whether it's smooth ups, whether it's leak repair. It all ties into it, financially, customer service, everything ties into the ability for us to be staffed properly. And then I did put in this one that's not on there, is we do have 12 employees. Kind of hard to see like the stars by the names, but we do have 12 employees that are ratepayers this year within that.
We see it by many.
So, we'll get into the numbers, or at least Jennifer is gonna get into the numbers here in a minute, but this is just me being able to put this in perspective, because I know, we did give y'all a board chart when, I think last meeting, but I wanted to just again show you what I feel would be, and what staff feels is gonna be an ability to be successful without messing with rates or dealing with rates or anything of that nature. So again, what are we in need of? Staff is requesting that we go from 35 FTEs to 40 FTEs, with eventually supplying 1 meter tech as we continue to have these buildups, these subdivisions. We have the boards that we got to get to, the new service syntax, all these things that these crews got to go out there and do. Peters does need that extra person again to cover the entirety of the district. 3 lead crews allow there to be another lead crew, and yes, we do have the equipment right now to facilitate making an entire other crew. And then 1 operations that between all four of these are also going to strengthen the on-call rotation. So it's going to allow for on-call to be done in a way where it's not being done back to back. It's not being done in a way that could keep employees out late into the hours, coming to work the next day, and potentially be in a position where fatigue or just, not be as sharp as they could be.
So Jennifer could discuss the overtime issues and.
Yes, sir. I mean, that goes without saying, but yes, Jennifer's prepared. We definitely have done our homework, I can assure you. So why do we need just 1, 2, and 3? I was just kind of, 3, I was just kind of saying like, trying to hit on the lead count management. It was meant to be funny when I did it at 11 o'clock last night, but anyways, just lead count management. Like, we get the numbers down from 40. We can get to the smooth ups. We can fix that for the customer service. We're preventing water loss, we're keeping water in the pipes, which protects revenue, which protects, us showing that we're being, acting in the way of conservation to ensure that we are, again, tying it to finance, tying it to customer service, tying it to the safety and, of what these crews could use to be, successful. So number 5, to save cost of the district by handling smaller projects in-house versus hiring out. This is kind of a step and a Jennifer thing. So do you want to elaborate on that? Bringing projects in the house, or just want me to go? So I promised Stephanie, based off the current conditions of the last time when we came, because again, we did come to the board. We start in June or April or May, June, July, working on the budget. And at the time, working with the conditions that we had and where we were, what we had worked for us at that time. I know, sir, you hit on the budget, and I know that you do things through the budget, but we feel that I guess a budget amendment isn't quite a dirty word in the sense of from what we would say or what we know throughout the environment of our utilities. And that, am I correct in saying that, Howard?
Yeah, yes.
But again, so we did, leaks count went up, we did lose some employees. And then one thing that I did kind of hit on, going back from the 35 employees was, you know, in the event of promoting Brad to an operations manager and moving Brandon up to a leaks lead, those were 2 FTEs that went out of the on-call rotation, but we didn't gain any extra FTEs for that. So again, bringing projects, you know, some of the projects that we want to do internally that could save the district money. And I believe we've spent how much on an outside vendor up to this point?
$388,000
And that was from January
to February.
to February of
A year.
a year time frame.
Yeah.
We've outsourced work that we could do in-house if we've had the proper staffing that could essentially cover what it
For
was.
example, what kind of jobs were outsourced?
So I was gonna say that if you remember, because you and Nick are the only ones here since Andre is not here, that were here for the budget process last year. And I had told y'all that we had 3 projects that we put in-house as opposed to put them over into the CIP to have it be done with the funding that we got from TWDB. And we had, I think it was like $1 million, $1.5 million maybe, but by bringing it in-house, it brought it down to 610,000. And it was like Jones Road, York Creek, and other ones.
So laying pipe, am I understanding correctly?
Basically, yes.
But you can see where, I mean, we're saving money by
Yeah,
doing it in-house.
I'm
So we're
trying to
not.
understand what projects.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we,
I think we feel
and potholing, but based on our
somewhere there. Yeah. I think
employee count,
I think Orange has been.
we could only bring, you know, what we feel comfortable with our employees could do, right? So we're not able to bring the bigger jobs, but we are able to save the money on the ones that we can do, and we should be able to be free.
And then again, I kind of already spoke on number 6, which is allowing the employees to do the jobs that they're doing, that they're currently hired for right now. And that's Karen. Again, we're making do with what we got, and it's pulling away from an inspector that should, you know, that could be out there catching or holding the developer accountable for putting the right products in the ground, or the right approved parts, equipment in the ground. So we're pretty strained, but again, we're doing what we got. We're doing what we can with what we got. And again, this is kind of the reason that we asked for it now. And then the funding is available. And this is where, without raising the rates, and this is where I will let Jennifer kind of handle this.
So I do want to apologize, Director Oscar, I do not have the OT hours that we had. I can tell you that I just processed payroll on Tuesday, we do weekly, and I had probably 6 employees that had 60 hours, at least at 740. Because we also have, like he said, we're having to steal from other departments and getting them to help with the leaks. And so that is more OT, those departments as well. But I can get the numbers and send to you that, like, I'll pull it here and I can absolutely get that
And
to you.
getting these employees would reduce the amount of.
Yes, exactly. I know he touched on it a little bit, but, you know, our inspectors, our leads, they are paid more, right, than our crew, typically, right? So, and they blame me, and I guess I'll take the blame, but I don't want to pay that hourly rate as an, OT. I would prefer to get somebody in here at the regular range and pay that as opposed to paying these employees at a high rate of the OT. But what I do have for numbers is I wanted to tell you what, and I put it in the packet, you should have it, what it would cost to get all 5 of these. I used some generic, I did 25 an hour. We are not going to do that for all 5 positions. That's not the range that we would hire in, but that's just a worst case scenario. Y'all, those that don't or haven't been in a budget process, y'all will learn from me that I overestimate, because I would rather us be over than under for expenses.
So 25 an hour, that gets us at more where, President Reiniger was saying, $500,000. It's about 416,000, that we would spend.
That includes the benefits.
That's everything.
Yes.
And so that's what, I have this too that I can, make copies or send. So it's typically standard is 40% that you count for, benefits, right? So
The
40%
benefits
of the
also
salary.
include the pensions and the matching and so forth?
So that is your healthcare and your OT and your bilingual shift differential and things like that. I separated out the, retirement and the payroll taxes.
Okay.
So that's what the whole, the total cost is. It includes all of it. So it includes our base salary, our payroll taxes, our benefits, and our retirement that we contribute. So our cost.
The retirement includes the matching that we're doing at.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just our cost. Because we take theirs out.
Is it 2 to 1 or 2.5 to 1?
It's 2 to
It's
1.
2.
2 to 1.
2.5 is the.
Green Valley is 2 to 1 and I
the
know that
TCE grants.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I might try to think that in the book. So it's just 2 to 1 right now. So at 25 an hour, it's that. At 20 an hour, it's 333,000. And you'll remember that we paid 388,000. So that obviously covers those 5. I will point out we have to transition, right? We got to get these people hired. So there may be some overlap in having to go into the contract.
Do we have to commit to all that? I mean, is there some transition time when we can have before the next budget where we can?
Absolutely. This is what this breaks down is like for each employee, right? So you can see that if you only did 3, then it wouldn't be quite as much.
Right.
That's not in our packet, right?
It is not, I'll pay, it's in your packet is the total cost. This is the breakout, like the retirement.
So just another question.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, we have employees that have been doing this for a while. And how much do they depend on some of that overtime? How much do they want with that? And, I mean,
Jennifer's
obviously, we're not gonna eliminate all of it. But,
No, you
I
won't.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You'll have your on-call and
I
that's
just know from
typically.
personal experience, some people
So
like that overtime and depend on it.
Yeah, no, in the on-call, we do give the flexibility, if people do need a switch coverage, and if you want to take up somebody else's overtime, it is at manager's discretion to ensure that burnout isn't happening, to ensure that we're being fiscally responsible. So there are ways for them to switch, because, Bubba needs cover on 20, or that's on Friday. So Saturday, so that there are ways that they can still go about getting it, but again, Jennifer, one of the things I always hear Jennifer say, obviously, you don't want to live outside your means and sure over time. However, we work in the blue collar industry that there is, unfortunately, usually tends to be plenty of it.
And I will say, it's typical for our on-call staff, and that's who should be getting the overtime, right? And we shouldn't have the others having to come in and help, with the leads, to do that, right? So I don't think the ones that count on it, they're still gonna get it, right? The ones that are on call, they will still get their OT. It's just the others, and they really are doing this as a favor. I'm not saying they're not liking it, because they're not doing it as often, but they are not ones that typically get it. So they're not like.
And for these leads and for the inspectors, when they do move over to these positions, they do understand that these are not on-call positions, or sorry, yes, not on-call positions. So they understand, or
I think they actually asked for it.
yeah, they accept the position that there's no on-call that's gonna become fit.
Yesenia's gonna go make those copies for y'all, so y'all have that, when you leave. But I do want to point out that adding all 5 is a 1.79%. That's the budget amendment of the overall budget. And so where he is saying that we have the funds, we absolutely have the funds, because for our original budget, when we presented it, we had over $500,000, 509,000 more money or more monies in there. But we were cognizant, the board said, hey, we're not going to do over 20% of a budget, right? So I went back, we skimmed it down. If you'll remember, I talked about, hey, we don't have any fluff in some of these areas. And so we were like 19.12%, right? So it's not that we don't have the funds, because we would have had the funds if that one had been approved. But again, understood what the board wanted, understand going forward what the board wants. We do not want to get increasing that much every year. I will say we've always increased revenues more as well. So it was at a 21%, but we're increasing revenues at a 23%, right? So, but again, completely understand why we want to keep it under 20. It's a smart practice. But this would only then increase it to the 1.79. So it's kind of bringing it back up to that 21 because it was a 19 that we got it down to. So it's going to bring it back up to what we had. I will say that the cost of the highest one that I know we're not even going to get close to is still under that 509%. Right, it's 416. So we still have almost $100,000 that we're not asking for.
And that's, when's the new budget?
The new budget is effective for the fiscal year 27, so that's in October 1, but we start in April, like literally.
Yeah.
It's around the corner where I will start putting it together.
Yes, sir. So we're asking now, and then Jeff, we can get back more into some other numbers here in a second, but you wanted to say something, Brandon?
Yes, so I'm a single father. I do have to leave. I just want to say thank y'all for coming out and considering this. From somebody that has that standpoint of overtime being necessary, I do take a lot of time away from my daughter because of that. Having the support of community like these people here helps. Give them the help they need to. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks.
And again, he does that, so we can stay here and make time.
He's a regular.
Yeah, he's a regular. So, and I just need the board to understand that my no one was really because they have been viewed as fought hard for the budget. It didn't pass the first time. Because we said it was too high. Right. And so we fought to get under the 20. And so the reason for my vote is because I just think everything needs to be done through the budget process because it's easier to track how much you're increasing that way. I mean, it's not saying that we don't need it or that they're not, that they're.
Didn't you know we needed this at the last budget?
I would say, man, that's a very valid question, but given, again, we started planning for the budget back in May, June, April of last year, and the conditions at the time, weren't as exasperated as they continue to be throughout the year. And I hear you, sir, about making the, going through the budget and budget amendments are, we are a thing where we are able to do, they are a tool for us in events like this where, the reason I feel like the time is now because we kind of hit on some of these things. One, we're not going to ask for more employees for the next budget. That is my promise to you. We will not come to you in October to say that we need more employees. And then number 9, it's a process for staff. So for every employee that we hire, there's a 90-day evaluation period where we see if the employee is a good fit for us. We see if, and vice versa, if they like what work, if they like what we offer here at Bristol First Special Utility District. And that is the moment. After that moment, they'll get their 90-day evaluation, and then at that point, it's our direction as from Brad and myself to start the licensing process. The licensing process takes time. One, securing a class. Classes are only booked every so often, monthly, maybe bi-monthly, depending on what they need. So they'll start out getting their basic water license. That takes time because when you take the class, by the time it hits another month later, it hits TCEQ's website. By the time TCEQ, by the time you're able to go test for it, schedule it, you're looking at about from the time you take the class, if you pass on the first attempt, you get 4 attempts, you're looking at maybe the fastest 3.5 months. And then we know one of the big issues for concerns with CSIs and doing those things in-house, we're able to, that this is something that we could start allowing staff to go out and get certified for, to eventually bring that stuff in-house. And I don't want to get down that road, but again, staff does have a plan to fix that CSI process as far as the reimbursements of what we're doing in-house. But what I'm saying is if we're able to utilize this moment to make, to approve, more hires, we can start the process now and be ready to roll come October. It's kind of the thought process there. And again, time not to be effective when it counts versus letting the compound. Leaks aren't going to stop whether y'all approve this or not, whether you approve it in October, whether you approve it, whenever you approve, the leaks are not going to stop. They're going to keep coming. And the process is, and I can assure you these crews are going to do what they can to ensure that they are working with doing everything they can for the district to get there and get everything in a timely manner.
And you're saying this could get approved by a budget amendment? I understand.
So we were asking for your approval now to understand that in April, we will come to you with a budget amendment that includes, this number in there based off of what y'all, if and what y'all approved tonight.
But one qualm I have is, you had told me you were gonna ask for more employees, I do remember that. But I wasn't expecting it to be jumped on us right here, right now, and I haven't had, speaking for me, consider all the angles. What other phases, for example, the borrow ranch are gonna be coming in, that will be more revenues coming in? Might make it a little more palatable if I had more data on that. Making a decision right now,
But, and 5 is a big ask, but honestly, even if we just got 3, I mean, that gives us the ability to make another league crew, and we could still shuffle and do what we need to do. That would be, my, bare minimum, opportunity that I feel like we should go after as staff. But, and again, we can follow this up with reports. We can follow this up with showing you what it's doing to improve the leak count going down, water loss going down. So all this data will be available to you. But it's just what I feel passionate about enough to, again, with Mr. Reiner saying that he was gonna allow me this moment to do this, is to recognize that we need it now. And that we could benefit and be slightly proactive in improving additional FTEs to allow us to chip away at that bigger problem that we have that happens here. Yes, sir.
if it's not favorably voted on right now, how far back does that set you?
We're considering that, and that's kind of like considering
Yeah.
that we're going to April's board meeting. It sets us back about 2.5 months.
Could there be a special meeting called about this? I don't know, Howard?
A special meeting is certainly the president's discretion.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to have no more meetings.
Sir, y'all just pass it without me. I'm just, I can assure you that there is, 99.9% of my soul feel that there's very little. I know it's dealing with the budget, and then we are gonna need that amendment. However, the upside to come out of this, the customer service, it's the customers that are gonna be able to get responded to faster, get smooth up stuff faster, get just the benefits are very, very on the high end compared to what we're still gonna face the problem, I guess, whether we face it now, yes, ma'am.
Well, I guess I know a lot of us, especially the new board members, our big thing was customer service. I know you and I talked about that in great detail. And I just feel like when you weigh everything out, these 5 employees are going to make a huge difference with customer service. They're going to save money on these in-house projects that you can do. So I understand where Nick's coming from as far as doing everything on a line item and doing it within the budget. But I think getting ahead of it rather than waiting for us, let's be proactive rather than waiting.
Yes, ma'am. And that's staff's intending, again, 1.7 of the budget, and whether at some point somehow I'm good, the staff's overall request is gonna be 5. We're able to get at least the ability to do 3 tonight and come to that amendment in April. It's just, again, we're starting to chip away at a problem that we're falling behind on right now with the staff that we currently have. And to me, to take that staff, to take that risk, to be up here and speak to you and ask you for these things, that's just, again, the passion that I feel about it. And I think that we will see, again, it's gonna take time to hire. We do have a ton of non-hiring stuff that we've attended job fairs, we put magnets on the trucks, and and staff had to take holding interviews. And so it's not gonna be like it's an immediate hit right away. It's gonna take time to bring quality people in and hire them and go through the whole process. But again, that's the gist of it. I don't want to take up too much more time. I have Mr. Pruski here back with the NRA to speak on the next line item in regards to.
Just real quick.
Yes, sir.
For the 1.79%, that's at the highest rate. Did I understand that
Yes.
correctly?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, that's at that 25 now.
okay,
Yeah, so it can go down.
okay.
Absolutely.
Just in your estimation, how will this affect water loss immediately?
Oh, just, again, sir, just the response time. I mean, John's crews, they're out there, they're busting their butts. Again, it gives up. not even to speak on the fact of like, you know, people have lives, people call in sick, you know, that it just gives us the ability like county crews to get out there on a daily basis to get these things served. But I would imagine I could have, you know, I know Mr. Benavides and I talked about weekly reports and I can give you weekly updates on where we're at with this stuff. It's hard to say where we can get at, but another 3 more sets of hands attacking the issue can only be positive in any way you look at it, in my perspective.
If you had to estimate, I think right now we're what, 17% water loss?
17.8% rolling water.
Okay, if we had to venture a guess what that would drop us down to, and obviously it should keep dropping after that.
Again, I don't feel, that I could offer an honest answer because I can't foresee what kind of leaks we're gonna have in the next months, right? We get a major break on a 16-inch line, we lose a lot of water. We get a major break on a 12-inch line, we lose a lot of water. Now we'll get to the repair faster. We'll have more hands available to get the repair done, to go run and get parts, to move vehicles, move equipment. Again, less burnout, all those things kind of take into effect in that. But to say what we can get that percent down to, hearts, there's too many variables to be able to get that search just because I can't, you know, as we go into the drought and ground shifts, we have this amazing black dirt here that we have it in the area and it does shift these lines and that's what we do. So Jennifer, is there anything else that you wish to add to this before we wrap this up?
No, I did want to answer, Ms. Cash, to let her know. Obviously, we, again, like I said, we understood, what the board at that time, their directive was that we cannot, go more than 20%. So we didn't dare ask for more employees, because if we had, we would not have made the adjustment that we did to.
And then you're going to meet the revenue numbers that you anticipate for the next few months to offset some of the costs for hiring new employees.
It's in the cap flow each time that I have the, so you see that. And our revenue isn't changing from the budget, you know, from a mini budget, that revenue is going to stay the same and it's at the 27 million.
Okay, but is that including more houses being built in the borough?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
There's 9 phases total for me. So we're contracted out. I don't know, Russell, what phase are they on right now?
Like 8.
Getting there.
The borough is 9 phases, but Jarrow.
It's a jar, Russell. So complicated.
Jarrow is part of the grant, but that's on the other side and all that, how Jarrow too.
But it's still part of the borough.
Yes.
So each budget year has the projected amount of homes as contracted added. So whatever's in the budget is what they're contracted to get this year.
Except, again, how I do the budget, is I underestimate revenues and I overestimate expenses. So we had, Stephanie's team got with me and I think it was a little over 1,400 that we should be having built. But we don't know if they're gonna be built in January, they're gonna be built in September, or so I think I did maybe 500 of that 1,400 just to be, you know. Yeah.
So again, ma'am and board, it just saying yes today doesn't necessarily mean that that these costs are gonna jump onto the budget right away. It's gonna take time to hire the staff, to train staff, to before we can truly start seeing numbers. But again, anything that the board is hopefully willing to entertain will at least slow down the train to some extent and allow us to, again, get ahead of it to the rest of or attempt to catch up to it. So that I think that's where we'll end there, and I'll leave it up to the board.
I think that my preference would be we, contact in April and give Baker whenever the numbers that they need.
What numbers are you needing? Yeah.
Oh, I would ask the treasurer actually to do that. You probably know the numbers better than I do. I mean, yeah.
You know, so she's already said the cash flow is already has the Navarro Ranch and any other developments that we're providing water to, and it's already a cushion in there just in case something blows or goes in Navarro and it doesn't happen. But I'd rather decide in April instead of tonight. For that,
I would suggest, based on the performance I've seen from Cesarania, at least 3 people, bringing at least 3 people on board. It's a leap of faith, but I think it'll yield quick results.
I believe so too. I mean, I have faith in what Jennifer's saying about the money. And I just think getting the water leaks and that is very important for customer service and just for the mere fact that we're saving the water and hoping that will make a difference. I know I wasn't here for the budget, so I'm not in it like you guys were, but I'd like to move to recommend we add the 3 additional people.
Motion by Director Oscar, 3 employees. Second, Director Patterson. Any further discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay? Nay, I'm the only nay.
So, yeah, so, moving on
I was
to,
looking at you guys that convinced me. Well, it wasn't that well in the sports go, no.
We're all off the clock, Christina.
I don't think they're gonna be here out.
Oh, we got that in common. You're not getting paid to
They're
be
locked
here.
out. I just wanna thank y'all. Thank you.
So we're gonna have to exit that way. We have this office for long, so that the long, it goes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very clear.
Good night, everyone. Keep tomorrow. Thank you.
Options.
I don't want to trade it.
No problem.
Thank y'all. Yeah.
so, I guess we'll go ahead with that you were, I don't know if you said it again. I think I said, okay, so this is again, Mr. Pruski with the, the Waste and River Authority. He did speak to some of us already, if y'all remember, this is the project. So this goes back to diversifying our water portfolio, a very, very, very ambitious project. And this is the best way I can describe this is this brings CCSUD on the on-ramp and gets us on the highway, but there are still several opportunities to exit if we feel that it's still, if it's not cost effective for Crystal Clear. But again, this is a very, very ambitious project, and I do appreciate Mr. Pruski and for sticking around this late to deliver this presentation to you.
I was disappointed. I thought they were here to see me. So John Pruski with the Waste and Server Authority, Chief Operations Officer. I think I recognize a couple of board members from last time, but I'll kind of start over from scratch. I make it as quickly as possible, but please stop me at any point and ask questions. We're going to be talking about our water project, and if you guys are interested in participating, for those who don't know, the Waste and Server Authority was created by the legislator 31 years ago now, along with all the other river authorities that you guys have, Guadalupe River Authority, Pennsylvania River Authority, all the other ones. We have 21 counties, we have 21 board directors. And the reason we have this slide first is, so our largest city, of course, is Corpus Christi in our region. So we have our 21 board members spread out between all over the basin, from the Hill Country down to the Corpus Christi area. We only have one board member that represents the Corpus Christi area. So when we make decisions, we don't make decisions based on one community. We make it based on the entire region, where we can really do what we believe is the best for everybody. We're allowed to do anything that talks with water. We do flood projects, we do wastewater projects, and of course water supply projects. We help build Lake Corpus Christi, we help build the Choke Canyon Reservoir, for one of those two. And then right now, the Marigold Pipeline, which actually takes water all the way from the Colorado River to Corpus Christi, which is about 80% of their water, is a project that we built. So we have built large-scale water projects before. Of course, nothing like this. Brought back, so you guys are over here, y'all are part of Region L. I am a voting member on Region L. That's the water planning groups that help look at all the water plans. We look at list the needs, we'll work with all the water districts to help figure out what's going on in our region to help plan for things. And then we make recommendations to the state water plan that then makes projects eligible for funding. These are the numbers of deficits that we see in our region by acre feet. Those are massive numbers. I'm going to show you the next slide is even more scary. Break that down into million gallons a day. So by 2030, less than 4 years away, we're gonna have a 202 million gallon a day deficit. I mean, we're using that much more water than we are able to produce. That is including if we build every project that's in the state plan, which there's a lot of pretty ambitious projects in there. That's including if they're all made, we're still gonna be short 202 million gallons, and it raises it all the way to 500 million gallons. I will tell you that your audience here today talked about data centers a lot. That number is not included in our mining and our manufacturing numbers because we can't count it in the flood water planning group until they actually have contracts for water. We can't count them. So if someone wants to build something, we can't, it's great to know, but we can't actually count that number in there. So our biggest increase, of course, is the municipalities. Yes.
So without going too deep, how did you come up with the projections? Current years versus?
We work with every single water district in the region L, and we sit down and we look at their numbers exactly. So those are numbers are pretty accurate based on.
So you're saying historical, but how do you go for the future?
When you based on your census data, that's the state thermographer does all of that, but it shows you what's going to be used in the future. So if you look, our mining, agriculture, manufacturing, those are all pretty stagnant numbers. It's the population numbers where you see the increase, and that's based on the growth that's coming in student subdivisions, all those types of things. That's the only thing we're about to take, availability, try to predict what's gonna happen on that. If that makes sense.
These are numbers that were part of the 2026 regional water plans for the regional water planning groups. And those regional water plans were approved by Texas Water Development Board this month, last month.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. We finished the project. So this is every 5 years we do a new plan. We just finished the 2026 plan. I will tell you that those numbers, I believe, are very conservative and they don't actually show the whole picture because through our planning process, we started and we have used the 2020 census data. And if you know anything about the 2020 census data, there was large gaps because of COVID was going on. And of course, everyone started moving to Texas after that number. So we believe those numbers don't actually show how bad the situation really is. Couple lakes, few pressing pictures. I think your friends that just left us would have appreciated. That is Lake Corpus Christi. If you've ever been to the state park, every year they do a trout release that they have nets put up and the kids get the fish. They're not doing that this year. Obviously, where I'm standing, the water should be about 12 feet over my head. I turned around and looked the other direction. This is the original pier. This section was added about 5 years ago. This section was added 3 years ago. This section was added last year. They keep having to add the pier out so that you can have people can come use the lake. That shows you how bad it is. This number, I will need to update it. We actually dropped to under 9%. We're at 8.8 as of this morning. That number's from last week. So we already lost almost a half a foot or half a percentage just in 1 week. We have 2 lakes. And of course, we have broke the record every day since last July. 2024, we've been breaking the record. So we're 18 straight months of breaking the record for the lowest levels of the lake. That is Choke Canyon Reservoir. If you've ever been to Choke Canyon State Park, this boat ramp, that is my Dodge 2500 there. That's an 8-foot tall vehicle, full Dodge pickup that looks like a little micro truck on that boat ramp that should be about 30 foot of water should be where my truck is sitting. I am over a couple hundred yards away from my truck where the lake should be. I turned around and that's the lake dam. Because you have that shape of the lakes are right now. And we're just one of the lakes. This is the Nueces River. That is the city of Eagle's intake structure on a normal water flow, river flow. That water should be right at the top of the intake structure. All of this will be underwater. All of that should be technically part of the river. This is the Frio River. If you ever gone tubing, this is what's left of it as it gets out of the Baldwin County. Pretty depressing numbers. So all that being said, we have been working for the last about 6-7 years on trying to figure out what to do. We've been seeing this train coming down the track. What is the way to fix this problem? We've looked at brackish groundwater production. We've looked at bringing water from different regions, from other states, all types of different things. And we came to marine desal is the only thing that's going to actually fix this problem on the scale that we need it to. We think there's some groundwater brackish programs would work, some rain capture, different things, but in the hundreds of millions of gallons a day that we need, the only best guess is to go out there to the Gulf of Mexico and get that water There's over 22,000 plants producing water right now, serving over 300 million people. 32 billion gallons a day are produced through desal throughout the world right now. Plants that are already in production, that number's gonna raise to 66 billion by 2030. That number's gonna more than double. Saudi Arabia is completely dependent on desal water. Spain just broke the 50% barrier. Israel was 100% over water. If you've ever been anywhere in the Caribbean, you're drinking desal water. Or did anybody in the Navy in here?
Left.
Yeah. Or if you're drinking desal. So it's been used. We just don't do it well in America. We've been using our natural resources, but we're at a point where we don't have those anymore. So where are we at? I want to make a very clear distinction. So our project is called the Harbor Island. It's with the Port of Corpus Christi property. If you look at these out in the Corpus Christi area, you're also going to see something called the Inner Harbor Project. That is the city of Corpus Christi project. That is not our project. We apologize for them naming the islands the same place, but our island was actually named first, but we are a completely different project than the city of Corpus Christi project. We wish them well and all those, but you're going to read a lot of stories about environmental issues and all those things. Ours actually isn't in the paper hardly at all. No one seems to care about us too much out there, but we are totally different projects. So what we did is we got a 30 acre lease for 50 years on this property right here. It's called Harbor Island. This is the community of Port Aransas, and this is the ferry. So if you ever got on the ferry to cross over to Port A, when you look at the left, in hopefully about a year, you're going to start seeing a desal plant being built just off your left there. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to build everything. But we have the rights to build and operate a desal project on that plant for the next 8 years. Phase one is going to start with 100 MGD, and all of our marine works are going to be offshore. I will show you how. So again, I talked about there's other desal projects that are trying to go off and do things. There's a lot of environmental issues that come along with those things. Our project, we try to take almost every environmental impact out of our project. We're going to do it a couple of ways. First is from Harbor Island, we're going to drill down 80 feet, and then we're going to bore our 12-foot diameter pipeline all the way out into the Gulf, and we're going to pop up in the Gulf. There's 6 main categories that you look at through the environmental permits to do these things. By doing this, we've already eliminated 4 of them. We're not 4 completely off the list we don't have to worry about. So we have 12-foot structure that's going to come in and take water from the Gulf. Bit more pictures. So Harbor Island's here. The intake structure will be 3.1 miles from Harbor Island. We're going to be 1.3 miles from the shoreline out into the Gulf, and we'll be at 35-foot depth. The discharge pipeline will follow that same corridor. It's going to go another half mile further, so it's going to be 3.6 miles from the island, 1.8 miles from the shoreline. It'll be at 44-foot depth. Those are 2 very important numbers, 35 and 44 foot, because if you ever read about red tide and any of those type of impacts that happen down at the coastline, they all stay in the 2 feet, 3 feet barrier. So we're going to be well below that depth level, so we don't have to shut down production in case there's that kind of environmental concerns, which do happen occasionally down there. It's not uncommon. Also, if there's another Deepwater Horizon oil spill, we are well below the impact of any of those things. So if just, oil comes up, if one of those things were to happen, there's plenty of oil wells out there. We won't have to shut down production. Also, we are deep enough that if the hurricane does come over the area, it doesn't impact us. It doesn't blow down that, it doesn't move the area. It won't impact our structures. We might have to have some sand pushed off, cleaned off after the project, but we won't, impact our structure won't be actually directed by the current of the hurricane. We might have some sand on that.
Now you're talking about the discharge pipe.
Yes.
That's the salt and whatever you took out of the water.
It's called the brine. That's what we put back in there.
Okay. So I would imagine that's a lot more concentrated than what you originally got it.
We'll get to that part in a minute, yes, but so when we if we're gonna make 100 billion gallons of water, we're gonna take in 300 billion gallons, we're gonna put 200 billion back. So we're increasing it about a third of 33% is what that water will be pieced back to the salinity level, if that makes sense. So we're bringing 300 off, we're taking 200 back, 100 is gonna go off to the customers that are gonna take all that water. So we'll mix that salt with that other 200 gallons. We'll talk a little bit about how that's gonna happen. That is our intake structure. Again, that'll be at 35-foot depth. One of the really good things about the way we're gonna bore down and pop up like that, we don't have to use pump systems. The actual current of the Gulf is going to push the water through our intake structure, through our pipeline and up into Harbor Island. So we save energy costs on that. And we're also using natural ocean current for that, so we don't have to worry about fish being stuck. We're not gonna have like pumps sucking the water down and have fish intake, things like that. There's gonna be screens, obviously, we don't fish swimming in there, but we're not gonna be sucking in ocean life down into the structure. So that's really important. Another environmental impact that we were able to take out that we'll talk about in a second. That's our diffuser system. So they'll have these little diffusers that's going to put the water back, that brine water that you had talked about, back into the Gulf. This will be about a football field long structure of these little fuses that's gonna be pushing that water back out there. And what that does is we only add 2 parts per million extra salt in the water over that 100 meters as we're dispersing it. The best way the engineer could describe it to me is like filling up your bathtub and getting 1 salt packet from like the, one of your fast food restaurant and dumping it in there. That's what we would be doing with that water because it's so spread out. And there's so much more water than the salt that it's so negligible to that. So the environmental is very important to us.
Is there an operating plant that's using this design already in action? Or is it a new
There's
design?
thousands of them like this. We're gonna update the design there's new technology. We're gonna be looking to update it as this process goes on, but we're not reinventing the wheel, no.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, you're saying it's gonna spread it this much, it's only gonna add, what did you say, 3 parts per million?
Yes.
3 parts per million, et cetera. Is there somewhere where I can see this in real life, not on a screen?
The best place to see it in real life would be in Israel. We don't, not here in America. We have, there's 3 large scale plants in America. There's one in Carlsbad, California, and they just dump it right into the water right next to the shoreline. Actually, they don't diffuse it all. They just put it right back into there's a little lagoon that they built from an old power plant. So they just let the water circulate on its own through the ocean, and they don't even do the diffusing. They just dump it. The one in Tampa Bay dumps it right into one of the rivers that goes into Tampa Bay. And so this diffusing system isn't used in America, it's used in countries all over the world. But we've been paying very close attention to all the environmental concerns, and we're trying our best. We're gonna put the effort into it, put the money out there.
And these 2 examples, they're just dumping it in. So far, there hasn't been a catastrophe.
California, Carlsbad has been running for over 25 years, and the environmental laws in California are stricter than just about anywhere, and they've been producing water for 25 years. If I think if that was a major
No disasters, no issues?
I haven't heard of any majors. They talked about, closest thing I've seen is they said that it's some rise in the salt and it may eventually cause, but some of these plants have been running for decades and there's been a little rise. There may eventually be, there have been no actual impacts that can be found from it.
So the closest example to this plant you say is in Israel?
That's the type of diffusion stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I got my passport, so you want to go or?
No, you can definitely research it though. We don't need to go to Israel to see what the data reveals.
Through our permit process, we are just about complete on getting all of our permits. The hardest one, of course, is the discharge permit. We are on our second hearing through DCQ right now. They just finished up public comment. And between the 2 comment periods, we've had only 1 negative comment. That was from 1 citizen that was in Port Aransas, asking us not to make our plant bigger than 100 million gallons a day. That was because we really looked hard at all the environmental concerns from other desal plants going in to try to eliminate all that. We worked with all of our partners down there that worked with the environment down there to try to eliminate the concerns. And we had 1 negative comment that just said, don't make your plant bigger than 100 million gallons a day. So we feel pretty confident through that process that we did the right thing through everything that we put out there. And trust me, read some of the other projects trying to go on in Corpus Christi. There's a couple of industrial plants trying to build one, and they have hundreds of thousands of comments on their permits. So we feel pretty good about where we stand. When I talk about the environmental impact, because of what we did, we were able to, like I said, there's 6 categories. We avoided 4 of them by boring underground and popping up into the Gulf. The 2 things we couldn't completely avoid were obviously the salinity, but we did minimize it to the lowest standard possible, where we're going to get that 2 parts per million of your ambient percentage of your salinity level there. We minimized it to the lowest possible level. And then the other one was that redfish do spawn out in the Gulf that deep, or out that far, but they don't spawn that deep. They don't go down to where we're gonna be at, so we're not gonna affect them, but we are in the general area, so we couldn't say we completely avoided them, but we are in the minimum standards possible. Again, we're very proud of trying to make this environmentally safe as possible. Where are we at today? We have finished our feasibility study on everything with Black and Beach. 95% of our water has been spoken for. It's the reservation contracts are sold. When I came to you guys, I guess in maybe June of last year, does that sound about right?
It was May.
May, we had just started that process. So the phase 100 million gallons, 95 million gallons have been sold already. We have already secured our engineers that are going to design our pipelines to get the water from Port A to all the where it's going to go, which I'll talk to in a minute. We are just finishing up, the next 2 weeks will be all of our proposal who's going to build the facility here on Harbor Island. There are 8 companies in the world that are capable of doing this project. All 8 of them have pulled our proposals and are hopefully be turning them in on, March 10th. We've had a couple of engagement opportunities for them to come and ask questions. All 8 have been there. All 8 have asked very good questions. We feel that we're going to have the cream of the crop to select from to pick the project out. We will determine that, down to 2 to 3 candidates in April, and then we will do our final tours to introduce the select the company hopefully in May or June of this year to start building. We did do the procurement of the engineering for the pipeline because that is our longest timeline it's going to take to build the pipeline. For as far as the plan is concerned, most builders hope they can get this done in probably 18 months from we give them the contract. They can have the plant operational, but we got to get it to you so we start the pipeline early through this process. So we've come a long way since we talked to y'all last May. Here's a list of all the communities that have purchased. I, like Michael, am optimistic, so I did put your name on this list for today's meeting, just like to show y'all on here. But these are the list of the communities who have already made their reservation fee for that 95,000. The stuff you want to see Green Valley, East Central, Spring Hill, SS, where we got the city of Kyle, and then County Line is voting on this in 2 weeks, I believe, to also purchase. So you have a pretty good group of folks down your way.
So to kind of not to interrupt, sir, so when we first brought this back, there wasn't as many players to this far northeast as this. So this is why, again, going after the diversifying of the water and stuff like that. With City of Kyle, I believe they went for 10 NGD, 10 MGD. That's a pretty significant size pipe that's gonna have to run back right through the eastern side of our service area.
So pipeline, here it is Port Aransas, here is our Aransas Pass, that line will come through. We'll be coming up the 37 corridor somewhere. One lane will break off here at Pleasanton, it'll go left towards our west side, and that's through like Lyle, Pleasanton, Jordanton, Benton City, Hondo, Cashville have already signed on. And of course, you guys, if y'all select, will go on our east line, that's gonna go through Lavernia, East Central, Seguin, Green Valley, you guys, and all the way up into Kyle.
Which we are that big green block up there, kind of right there, that's gonna be our service.
That's y'all right there?
Yes,
Yeah, this farm, I think.
yes.
Yeah. That's y'all. So we're starting that process now. Like I said, we only have a few million gallons left to give out to the community that you guys choose to participate. We would love to have you take the little bit we have left. One of the important things is that when we build this pipeline, we are going to upsize it because we get phase 1 is 100 MGD. Everything we're building down here, the intake structure, that 12 foot, everything is to go up to 500 million gallons a day when the time comes. We are also going to upsize the pipeline to probably get to 200 plus million gallons north early because we want to put the pipeline in now. We'll phase up as we go. I personally believe when we start working on the 100 MGD phase, we will never leave the site. They'll just start working on phase 2 before we even, as soon as phase 1 is complete because of the need I showed you on the other maps. But being an early adopter, it gives you 2 advantages. One is when we design this pipeline that's going to come through your area, I mean, we are going to go through y'all's area one way or another, whether y'all are with us or not, the pipeline's coming through here. If y'all are part of it, we will do our best to get the pipeline to the best position for you guys. We're not going to bring it to your water plant. Obviously, I can't do that. But if you're early adopter, we're going to try to work with you guys to bring it as close as possible. Versus anybody else who comes after, but once the line's in the ground, it's your responsibility to get to that pipeline from there. The other positive thing is that when we go to phase 2, all of the first round customers are gonna get asked first before we allow to take new customers for the new phases. So if y'all choose to take in 2 million gallons a day and want to start going through this process, I'm like, okay, round two is open. I'm like, you know what? We actually need 3. You'll get the chance to buy that extra 1 million gallons or 2 million or whatever that is before we open that up to anybody else in the public. When we started this process, we were in. Yes.
Just a real quick question, and you may have already handled this. The pipeline going up, you've already negotiated all the easements and all that?
No, we're starting that process.
Okay.
We selected engineering firms that are going to start that process for us.
Okay, do we anticipate a lot of issues or?
Well, there's always gonna be some issues with it. We do have MSOA if needed. We don't want to use any of that process. We want to try to work with it. I can take you back to the beginning of the picture with all the pictures of the lake. The necessity of this project is going to help that come along as into, we have to get this built. We're in serious trouble if we don't get this done. So we'll go through that process.
And then just another more common term you'll hear is first right of refusal. That's kind of the other way of saying it. So we'll get asked first and we'll have that right to refuse it if we are good or if we need more, we can ask for it.
Thank you.
Everything we've been working to, we believe and feel confident that the plant will be online by 2029. With the end of the pipeline somewhere in 2032. Will it be sooner, later? I can't tell you, but everything has been working on through our studies and all our engineers. We've been putting close that line that we're going to be operational by 2029 and the water all the way to the end by 2032.
Okay, so since we're already like almost 5 hours in, we're not even half done. What's the vote?
In your board package with the contract, again, just get this onto the highway. Utilizing some very, very, what we feel are not quite ambitious, but slightly conservative. We settled on 3 million gallons of what we would utilize in our eastern area. We do have, CRWA does give me a lot of heartburn when it comes to the Hayes Call facility and the issue that we have there legally with all the other utilities that are in the district. So it would be something that goes there. This would also be part 2 of that budget. This is something that we would include in the budget amendment. It's to, because this wasn't thought of back in when we were doing this. But to sign up right now, Mr. Pruski, it is how much from MGV?
I have a contract right.
It's a total of $164,257 for 3,316 acre feet per year.
Over 2 years. So we would pay half that amount this year, 2026.
Correct.
And we would pay the other half. We would put that in the budget for 2027. I think by not signing on last year, I think we didn't have to pay last year. So I think we've kind of come in at the 11th hour to be able to see how far and how much work and how much legwork that the NRA is getting approved through the state and through TCEQ and all these other environmental problems. So
Do you recall why you didn't vote on it?
I just think that the cost per thousand, that's gonna be one of those things, again, that is still kind of up in the air based off of everything that's gonna be structured as far as the build out to us. So I think
One of the other concerns that the board had at that time was, who are the investors? He was reluctant to speak about the private investors.
Oh, that's right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because you have some private investors, and I was originally led to believe that it was government backed. But no, they're private investors, and when you were asked point blank who the investors were, you refused to say.
That's not so.
No, Director Cox actually pointed out.
Yeah, there was, I don't know.
So our FP that includes the builder of this facility, so they have to bring their funding with them. So I kind of didn't know who they were going to be because we haven't selected who that is. So part of that RFQ process is, so they're going to have a 30-year contract where they're going to build and they're also going to operate that contract, that process, but they're going to build and finance the plant.
P3, it's a P3 process, public, private.
Pipeline.
Yeah, and that's the question that wasn't answered. Is it gonna be?
Because I don't have it, because we're not going to get independent investors. The 8 firms I told you about who build this, they are gonna bring their private financing to build the plant. So we're not using public dollars or anything to do that.
And so what we're looking at is you've got a project company that is going to build and operate this plant. They will not bring their own capital in all likelihood because this is all in. How much are we talking about?
The plant is gonna be around the 2.5 billion range,
And the pipeline probably,
3 to 3.5.
yeah, and so no single entity can bring that much private capital to bear. So this is, you're probably looking at a syndicate of individuals that will finance this project. And I can tell you, there's one thing for certain, the Texas Water Development Board is never gonna have that much money to build this project. If private capital doesn't build this project, it won't get built.
What price guarantees do we have? That's another question, because I know the price was a concern. And, well,
At this point, you can't have a price guarantee because
So
do we have that built into the contract?
So what you're doing now is you're reserving the rights to this water. So we're gonna go through this process. We will come back later with a take or pay contract to then buy the actual water at the price that you have set.
And that's
So the
the
best-
off, right?
Oh, yeah, but so right now we pay for the option, right?
Yes.
But we don't know what the price is gonna be.
Yes, so we're paying for to be able to reserve 3 million gallons of that.
And they're asking for how much for us to pay for
It's
this option?
it's
164.
164 over 2 years.
164,000?
Yes, sir.
For 2 years, so we don't know what the price is gonna be. And we got no price guarantees either.
Yes, sir. But this, again, this is something that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. We're
Yes, sir. So
hedging our bets.
it is.
But
It is trying to do what we can again to diversify the portfolio, to kind of give that push, to have answers to those questions to those individuals that showed up tonight. It's just, it's not something that's very, very cost effective at the Water Development Board level. But again, the interest is high throughout the whole entire region as it comes up. So again, what we're asking to approve tonight is just to get us onto the on-ramp for that 3 million gallons as the NRA goes out there and continues to hit their milestones, hit their checkoffs, come back, give us updates. We'll pay this year, we'll pay next year. At that point, like Mr. Pruski said, he'll come back to us with that dollar amount on what that take or pay contract is.
so 164 to find out eventually what the price is gonna be.
It's definitely an investment, yes, sir, to say the least.
One of the other water districts I work with, one of their engineers said it best. It's basically you're paying for assessment. If you were gonna build a new well field and you had to get your engineers to do the assessment on a piece of property, get the depth, and you probably spend $400,000 on that. It's a similar to that. You're putting money to an assessment for us. What we need is to know who we're taking the water to. I can't build a pipeline, can't design that, and without knowing where. And of course, love to have you guys participate, but if you don't feel it's right for you, we understand. We don't have feelings.
I like the idea of Michael, hedging and diversifying our sources. I like that idea. What I don't like, based on experience with R1s here at W.
Yes, sir.
Always cost overruns.
Yeah, that's literally what
Delayed.
Jennifer was whispering in my ear. So unlike Arwell, where we signed onto it and now we have that issue of came back and out of it, this again just gets us onto the highway. And the board, we are not signing on to anything long-term. We're signing on for the investment. Just the option for them to be able to go and continue to do the research and come back and report to us. And then be able to say, hey, this is who we got, this is who shored up, this is what it's gonna cost to get to you. And then at that point in time, the district and the board can say, okay, well, we appreciate, you coming back to us, but this is just more than what we can afford as a district.
Can we get our money back?
It's not bad because the engineers were gonna pay to start designing the pipeline. This now, we're going to use it's gonna cost us about $30 million for that design of the engineering pipeline. And so your money's been spent and way more of our money also. So we're going to start designing that pipeline now.
So talking to somebody.
I got green workshop for that because we're.
Yes, sir. So talking to some of the colleagues that are mentioned in all these cities, it's not, this is where the water acquisition fees come in. This is where the impact fees come in. This is where or not so much impact fees, but the water acquisition fees. This is where we're able to take that money, be fiscally, responsible in a way that we're still trying to go out there and see what other options are available. Because again, you see our area, we don't have a natural tributary that runs through it. We have the wells, there's still the Trinity. Those things could be potentially online by the time this is all said and done. And this could be like, hey, we got enough water here. We don't need this anymore. We appreciate your time. But again, it's the right. It's the better, it's an option that I feel that the district should, I personally would love to jump on the highway just to be able to, in worst case scenario, or at least continue that conversation, be able to have this as an option. And again, this is just strictly to help NRA go out there and do the studies to get.
I like the idea.
Yes, sir.
I just like the idea. What I'm very uncomfortable is I got no basis, no bracket, no, it's either minimum this, maximum that. I'm
Yes, sir.
told
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir. And the contract, even in front of you today, isn't gonna tell you that. They're too early in the stages to truly understand what that number is gonna be. But before we get that number, the off ramp is there. The off ramp is there to say, oh, we got the number. All right, too much, too shiny for us. We can jump off,
But
but
we lost 164,000 then.
Yeah, but now look at it this way. To go out and drill a single new well of engineering and design, you're looking at in excess of $5 million. So this is a very small amount of money compared to what it would cost to develop new resources in this district, which I think there's legitimate concern.
Drill a well.
I had a client to drill one about, well, let's see, it was a deep one, to be fair, very deep.
How many gallons is kept pulling out of that?
3.
yeah, so.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this new agreement authority option agreement as presented and allow non-substantive changes. Second by Director Patterson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce, for your
Thank
time.
you for your time and we'll come back and give you all updates.
I do have an education question. Have we ever read?
No,
It's already done.
no, but we'll get to it. We'll talk.
Yeah, clearing water line project recommendation of awards contract for Shining Island.
Steph.
Sir, I'm sorry.
This is ID, so the award of contracts
I thought it was,
for the 7F. For the 7,
Yes.
go for it.
Go for it? Okay. All right, we are putting in a line extension going down Kingsbury Road, the district is going down Kingsbury Road through the town of Kingsbury, and it's going to cross the railroad and, Highway 90. This is a phase 2 for this 8-inch water line. The first phase was constructed about 6 years ago. But the purpose of it is to convey water to that southeast portion of the district. There's not a lot of larger pipes that can convey water down towards Anderslew and that area. We advertised for bids for the first 2 months of the year. We got 16 bids back, which is a lot. We reviewed all of them. The bid packet was set up with an evaluation criteria, like a scoring matrix to award the bid to the highest scoring bidder and not the low bidder. So when we got done with all 16 proposals, the highest scoring bidder was JM Pipeline. Their base bid proposal amount was $807,185. I did include, I believe that made it into your packet, the full scoring and ranking of the 16 bids that we received. So you can see where JM Pipeline fell score-wise in relation to the other bidders. They've done work for y'all's district before. Not that that had anything to do with their scoring, we scored them all objectively based on their packets and their qualifications. But we do know they're reputable. It'll be the third contract that I know. Yes, they've had with y'all, so.
And it's in the budget.
It's been budgeted.
And it's been budgeted.
So, just looking for a motion to, approve.
I'd like to move that the board of directors approve award for Kingsbury Pipeline Phase 2 project to GM Pipeline LLC in the amount of $807,185. Second by Director Cash. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right, 5F, discussion possible action. Grievance update.
So yeah, this is just, speaking to customer grievances, so this is gonna be the same, or do we have anything?
There was just three, grievances since last meeting. First one had to, do with billing. The second one had to do with. Second one had to do with, non-payment that was, or shut off from yesterday. Or the other meeting, two things from Tuesday. So that one is still pending. The other two are closed, but the other one had to do with, Wilcox lease that was, already closed this week as well. So nothing else, besides the one is pending, which will be addressed this week.
Okay, all right, awesome, thanks. Does this item include another director Benavides? That might be further down. Yes, does this director Benavides request for the button or the notification? That's later on.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that. Okay, all right, moving on to, the G, finance cash flows.
I don't have any other than what I have in here, if anybody has any questions.
Okay, great. Going on to 5H, updates to contracts, action, private fire hydrants. I don't know whether it's Michael or Joseph. So go ahead, sir. This is going to be, what we talked about in our, rolling ranks committee, strategic plan committee. This is the verbiage that, Mr. Benavides wanted something that, didn't leave any gray area. He wanted to acknowledge, that the district recognized private fire hydrants.
Yeah.
And this is, the language that we can include into the rules and regulations. So that way, the district is not held, liable for any malfunction of the hydrant should, emergency services try to, utilize it for a firefighting event.
Where is that verbiage?
Here is the.
On your SBS sheet.
Right here. SBS.
On the SBS sheet, so you'll flip it over. It's on, we gotta get better numbers, I think. It's like 5H. So it's right after the cash flow. So if you look at Jennifer's, the cash flow from Jennifer, it's gonna be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Standard type selected by the district, I think we should say selected by the fire marshal. But that, in the end, that's a fellow that decides.
That we can certainly make that friendly.
Yeah. Because a lot of other agreements I've seen do defer to the fire marshal. In the end, that's the guy that decides, hey, this is what I want. I want to have 5-inch stores, and then the 2.5-inch, fire thread. So, yeah, we'll change that to fire marshal or the fire.
So, is there more than one fire marshal that may be?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm saying, fire marshal of the county.
The county, is that okay? Yes, sir.
Okay.
Which sometimes also be city.
It's
If it's in the UNC.
Yeah, like it's, they're available in 3 different city limits and 3 different HEJs and some is county.
So applicable regulatory jurisdiction?
Well, here's the amendment I would propose. Lines starting such hydrant shall be metered. Semicolon and comma 2 of the standard type selected by the fire marshal.
Yep.
Sure enough.
I like it, yeah.
Okay.
Lawyer's a whiz kid over here.
Good answers. Gonna get it was a long day.
This is not my first.
I've been 5 board members. 16 years.
As long as you're happy with it, Joseph, that's all I care about.
Oh, no burden, no burden.
Thank you for
I like it. One thing I suggested earlier is just to give us, the permission to go inspect it if for some unforeseen reason we need to, but there was kind of resistance to that. What's your take on that?
We accept total authority to have a private property inspected.
So again,
We have statutory authority to
Okay.
own private property to
Okay.
inspect anything.
okay.
But he was asking to put something in there, so you're saying based off of the.
Statute, we don't.
We
I understand that correctly?
Yes,
Okay.
okay.
All right, very well.
Yeah.
Check.
Well, make a motion to approve the verbiage, mentioned on item 5H.
Subject to the amendment.
Subject to the amendments that you recommend.
That's the change of the wording.
All right, motion by Director Benavides, second
So,
by.
just for the sake of, not looking, for the optics sakes, we would ask that since this is something that potentially could affect you personally, that you would, abstain from this sponsor.
I apologize that I should have pointed it out.
Yes, sir.
Then we'll just move the first motion to Director Roscoe.
Okay, yes.
Do I have a second? Second by Director Patterson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All opposed say nay. And Director Benavides is abstained.
Perfect.
So unanimous with the Director Benavides and David.
Yeah, I have an issue with that abstaining because there's reasons why we ratify the board precisely to address these things.
Well, I think because you have pending points, it would be, in terms of public protection, I think that's the best course back.
I'll settle for that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, strategic planning and rules and regulations committee report and discussions on the subjects below. I'll give this to Joe.
Yes, sir. So just,
Yes, correct. We did talk about changing, at the strategic meeting, by changing our policy on requesting or requiring rather, property line easements. Now our position is to request, not demand or require an easement. Minimum is gonna be, what do we say, 10 feet on either side of the meter or the, hydrant or whatever, if it's on the right of way, whatever. But we're not gonna be asking for end to end. We would request it and hopefully the customer will say, yes, you can have an easement. Or they can say, well, let's talk. But we're not going to be requiring property line easements anymore. The most we're gonna ask or require on either side. That's it.
yeah, so basically no actions requested because there's still some follow-on action. There's still some follow-up that staff's working on to clean up the verbiage to present something to the Rules and Regs Committee to bring up to the next, attention, to get to the vote.
To April.
Yes, sir. So we're working on it.
Okay.
It's kind of what that is. And then,
We probably have the R&R in March, though, so we'll.
Yes, sir.
Prepare for the April.
Okay.
we'll have that meeting. We'll set up something on calendars. And again, for the R&R committee, I invite everybody because you're all welcome to go. It's going to be an open meeting. So everybody is able to attend.
Question on that.
Certainly.
I was ready to go to that meeting. And it was a shame on me because I saw the whole, I got ready at 5:30 to go to the typical.
Yes, sir. I apologize.
And it was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, sir. So those are things like that. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Can we hold that time? It's gonna be different than a typical 5 or 6.
Yes, sir. We will do what we can to ensure that it is clear and obvious at the time. I can say right now, it's gonna be, those committee meetings are gonna be designed to be around throughout the workday, not an after hours thing. So I would say, I think 1 o'clock was a great time on that Thursday, and I would assume that the next one will be, I'll let you know directly.
If it was at the top or something or whatever you posted,
Yes,
that's
sir.
gonna be,
We'll clean it up.
yeah, because again, I was ready to come at 6:30 and I was reading it.
We missed you.
Yeah. We did expect you to be here. Just to speed things up, Mr. Benavides.
Yeah, you could just go, I need you
Yeah, so.
next time.
I too, leak adjustment.
Yes, on the leak adjustment, one thing we currently have been doing is, if there's a leak on, one of the customer's property, we will adjust it for that one billing period. However, if there's a leak that happens to coincide with between 2 billing periods, we don't have any policy for that yet. So the suggestion was made, hey, give us a leeway to adjust both bills and give some consideration. Now, consideration means we're not gonna give the water away. We're gonna just charge them The first 3,000 gallons.
Those tier
It's not gonna be tiered. You know how the more water you use, the higher it gets, but we're gonna keep it at that first 3,000 rate. So now we're proposing staff have the ability to have some leeway to say, instead of just 1 billing period, maybe a 2 billing period. In the very rare chance that it's 1,000 acres, there's a lot of pipe in there, and it takes 3 billing periods for the customer to see that leak. That's gonna be up to discretion of management and staff to decide if they wanna do a 3 billing period adjustment.
Yes, sir. So 2 months would be the new norm, or 2 billing cycles. And then with the discretion for the general manager for the third, we're working on the language. We want to run it through legal, run it through the committee again. And I know that this was something, Ms. Patterson, that we had talked about as well. So, there, again, there's no action there. So, we'll kind of move on to the next one, sir.
That's great.
I'm sorry. Next one, yes, sir. Go ahead.
We'll do that by $3 minutes.
Owners and tenants, and, here, our current policy has been that if, a tenant is, passed through what have you, the owner of the property pretty much is a cosigner, has to pay for the, for whatever amount the tenant owes. We're gonna be switching that around. What we're gonna do is require a slightly larger deposit. I think we're at 300, we're gonna go to 400 on tenants. And that should help the landowner in the sense that he's not responsible for most of the bill. And also before, I think Crystal Clear also had an incentive to kind of rank things out, because they would rack up late fees, they would go ahead and get disconnect fees and so forth. Now, the onus is a little bit more on Crystal Clear side to be quick to disconnect or quick to shut down that water before it goes out. They only got $400 deposit, but that should make Crystal Clear more limber on his feet to, hey, shut it down, because the owners can't shut it down, but we have full authority to do so.
Yes, sir. And then one other thing that we would still, require the $300 deposit from the owner of the land or the property.
Yes, that is, yes.
And it stays with the property forever. However, in the event that they have a tenant, the tenant is gonna now be responsible for a $400 deposit, and that's what's gonna get, that's gonna give that cushion in case of the event that they do leave without paying. And then again, and I think one of the other questions was, do we keep track of the tenants that go from within the district, and we do keep track of that. So again, this is another one where we heard the initial, where we were getting at, staff's gonna get with legal, get with, and then get back to the Rules and Regs Committee with, verbiage to eventually bring to the board.
Did we decide how much time we're gonna wait till shut down that meter? Was it 15 days after passing, 20 past day, 20 days past day? The longer we wait, the more risk Crystal Clear takes on.
So the beauty of this is we have time to take this back to the committee. We can put something together for the committee to review. If the committee has specific thoughts on what the time.
Oh, it's legal.
Yeah,
Pretty much just.
yeah. And we'll, but we can finalize that policy and the committee will have another bite at that apple to make it.
So when we bring it to you, we'll have. It's our story. Yes, sir.
And we also were including the fact that we're gonna follow those customers, so they don't
Yes, sir.
find
Yes,
another spot.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're gonna keep track across the district, and how we do that right now, is saying, yes. So we currently are already we're doing that. Now, if they look at different drivers.
Did you understand, Mr. Smith? Like, let's say John Smith rents from you.
Right.
And he takes off, doesn't pay his bill, and he goes just right down the street. Well, John Smith can't get service with it, still he pays what he owes.
Right. And the tenant, just like a regular homeowner, is gonna be required to have
A
a
deposit.
deposit,
Yes.
Yes,
which protects you guys.
Yes.
yes, sir. And you.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So what happens
If the amount's over 400,
yes,
then that's when we would tap into the home, that $300 of the homeowner.
Which is why I'm fighting to get that.
I'm sorry, it
$300
would be the
sooner
founder. My
rather
apologies.
than
I
later.
did that incorrectly. Go ahead.
It would be still the responsibility of the owner.
But that 400 cushion, definitely gives us the ability to, even that would cover multiple base rates and usage. So, we felt, and then the Rules and Regs Committee felt that this was, something to address concerns that yourself, but also doesn't quite put any of the financial
it
burden.
lessens the financial, but we're still somewhat on the hook.
Yes.
Because you guys bill a month behind.
Yes, sir. Which is why the $400 amount came up.
Right, so from as a landowner, I'm still somewhat responsible. Because you guys got the right to turn the water off for non-payment. I have to go through a court system that could take 3 months to get them out.
I think that real
So
quick.
if I can't turn the water off and you guys don't turn it off,
Well, that's why we're trying to figure out how soon we can turn off the
So
water.
it's gonna be.
So that's what the burden would be on Crystal Clear to not let the tap run. That way you're not responsible. What we're trying to see is how soon can we turn it off legally, number one. And number two, practically.
which
So that way the
cutoff date now,
Uh,
disconnect date, 10 days after,
14 days after,
2 days.
so we already got that.
We have that established, it does fall differently, depending on holidays and stuff like that.
Still, it's
it-
relatively quick.
Yes, sir.
So that would be approximately 6 weeks of service.
So you could have that
So
2 weeks, because Brenda,
Right, so the 400 should cover it.
Yeah.
So that is the major. Should every time. Right,
Unless you got a water park tenant or something.
no.
I apologize, Mr. Meek, is that the topic that you wanted to speak to? I know you did say you wanted to speak to an agenda item, are we still coming to that?
No. I was listening, I was my other one was the agenda time, which
Yes,
is
sir.
already commented.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, moving on to I-4, multiple connection to a single tap.
On that one, we were gonna look at a couple of legal issues. I personally had a lot of questions. And I was gonna do some research on that one, so nothing was decided on that or proposed.
So, and then for, staff, we didn't have this on the agenda, but then we, after talking to legal and talking amongst ourselves, we want to put whatever we talk about in the Rules and Regs Committee, whether we vote on it or not, we want it to be known that we did address those issues and that we do have a plan.
I want to thank Vice President Benavides for all his work on his committee and Director Oscar.
We can give Joe's call.
And especially to our chairman, so this fine works there.
And Ms. Patterson, you are on the committee as well. I know we're having some issues with your emails, but, you will be part of that. Everybody will be part of the invite, but again, to go back to who's on the committee, it was, you.
Today, workshop for board members.
So, Mr. Benavides, this was kind of, we're just looking, I know we talked briefly about what you're wanting to do. My understanding, you want as if, Joe Schmo walked through the door, said he needed a water meter, like what the process was kind of.
Well, everything. For example, we were talking about ROCRW, GPRA. The new board members don't know that. And I remember the first months, they might have been talking trigonometry for all I know.
Yes, sir. So, as, Ms. Trent and Ms. Cash both knew, and as well as Ms. Patterson, and Mr. Roscoe, we were able to do the drive. We went out and saw things. Ms. Velasquez was able to do it. So that's still kind of my intent if board members want to do that. I know schedules are hard to get to, and it is pretty much a whole day's worth of driving around. So I feel like that was really, hopefully you took a lot of great for that. And that's the intent. That's what I was trying to set up, with the other board members.
For example, when I mentioned our experience with Arwood, they have no idea what I'm talking about. The cost overruns, the delays. Why?
Like history kind of.
History, how does it work? How do we get our water? How do we price our water? What agreements do we have this entity, that other entity? How are we dragged into this lawsuit that San Marcos has with CRWA? How do we pipe it? What's this, how do we decide on pricing? Just how does the Bolshevik bank work? Big enchilada, how does it all work? That I would like the board members to, because I think this will really benefit management.
Yes, sir.
Because an informed and educated board
100%.
will understand what you mean when you're talking about percentages of water leaks and about smooth overs and what have you.
Yes, sir, which is why I wanted to use that kind of opportunity to address that aspect of it. Staff will get to work on putting something together. We have talked about, dare I say, we basically had one tonight with town halls, opening up, the ability to explain everything from top to bottom. Being able to assume the full-time role, I think gives me that much more ability to really be able to put something together and speak on it. staff, I understand what you're asking, and then we'll bring something to the board. Maybe some framework by at least the April board meeting, so that way I can show you what I've worked on, and then you can kind of, and then maybe, I don't know if it's something that would fall under the rules and regs committee, I'll think maybe more admin. Or the strategic planning, maybe it could fall under those committees, but if it does, it's something that I can speak to them as well. That's what I'm saying, like, just.
Yeah, throw them on that.
Yes, sir. So, I hear what you're asking for, sir, and I will get back with you, some type of rough draft on what I could look to present, PowerPoint, stuff like that.
And I would think it would, a true like workshop that we don't want to be here for 5 hours.
No.
So we would probably break it up, right? Like, like, let's talk about water sources and stuff. Let's
Yep.
talk about, that's my.
Yeah, about finance.
Is it gonna be like after hours, not
It would be,
full time?
yes, ma'am, and I did have voiced that you work on both sides of the coast as well as far as being able to deal with your personal job. So,
I think the workshop definitely would.
The workshop, I think, would be great, because you can always watch it on video, record.
Yeah.
That's help.
yeah.
And you can watch it on video and understand.
I can sit there and get it, I can stand in front of this all day and speak like I'm speaking to everybody and send it out to everybody. I mean, again, we'll, for the sake of time, I hear what you're saying. I'll get something, or I'll get on work with it and we'll get back to you. All right.
Go into, 5K, impact fees study. Now, it was this was a request by Dr. Benavides. I don't know.
No, I'm gonna pick the report. No, what we have here, what I would like to present to the board is Crystal Clear applied to increase its impact fee, as you heard earlier. I fought Crystal Clear on that. We're in litigation for that right now, on the tail end of it. But my whole point of fighting is, I didn't believe that their study was accurate. I always suspected it was inaccurate. And again, this is my perspective on it. And when we went to the proceedings and so forth, Crystal Clear did indeed admit that the study they submitted only supported a $2,600 impact, not a $5,200 fee that they were asking for. So I was right in my suspicion about that. And that was based on the previous manager's way of just getting things rubber stamped. Just you go to somebody, hey, give me a study that shows this, sure, why not? And then everything was just rubber stamp. And I was correct in my suspicion of that. Now, that's not to say that Crystal Clear doesn't need to increase its impact rate. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. What I'm saying is, let's get a correct, true, accurate impact fee study done. Definitely not by Walden, because we've seen their work and several other things. And let's see if we really do need an increase on impact fee or not. I'm not saying we don't need it. I'm not saying we need it. I'm saying let's find out.
So this is what staff's been working on, and I'm gonna let Jennifer take over here. That I think can very much address all.
And I am not sure, and I would have to check with legal, but I didn't will then get the corrected one. But and it
Well,
was,
then
I mean,
applied to get the correct one, and the judge allowed it, which surprised me,
Okay.
because we were supposed to
because we.
analyze on the merits of what was submitted in March. And then over a year later, they just, oh yeah, go ahead and throw some data in there, no problem. Which was shocking to me, because we were supposed to base it on what Crystal Clear had submitted originally.
Right.
Now, and
I
again,
just
my
wanna say
whole
I
point
think
is that I never trusted the Regina regime, and I was right. I was right in my suspicions.
So this is what Jennifer's been researching on.
I have been talking with Water Work, and it's all one word, Water Work. And they have a software program that can help us with our rates and our fees. So I talked to them, they came up with these as our goals. I think that they're good goals. Maintain living financial plans for the rate structure, which reflect evolving capital improvement plans, facilitate strong communication between our staff, public, the board, and then ensuring, of course, that we are keeping things equitable and affordable, right? So what this is it's a software program that we have control of, right? So it's mirroring the two methods that people use to get rate studies done. And it is using what we've done in the past with Wildan, right? Paying for a rate consultant is the one method. The second method is building it yourself via Excel. I am pretty good with Excel, but I will tell you that that is very time consuming if we were going to do that. And Excel is so finicky, and if you put too many formulas in there, it's not gonna be correct, all that good stuff. So when I looked at this and saw that this could be two things in one, those two methods in one, I thought it was a great deal. So this is a, presentation that, Waterworks, sorry, I was thinking Waterworks. Waterworks sent over to me, and so I want to give the resource credit to Jenny Sines, finance manager treasurer, put this together, and she is out of Washington. So anyway, so this is Reimagine It. So the agenda. So why change the way we do grade setting? It's a traditional approach that consultant led. It takes 3 to 5 years that we get it, every 3 to 5 years. There's challenges because of high costs. There could be inflation, complicated spreadsheets, not user friendly, things like this, a long turnaround. Our opportunity, of course, is transparency, which I feel like that is our mission. The new board, right, to be transparent. It has long-term planning, and it increases agility. The goal, make data-driven decisions more frequently. All right, so it goes into that traditional approach. So that's what that 3 to 5 years is. Those high upfront costs are anywhere from 30 to 100K, depending on the organization size. Luckily, we are on that smaller side, so we paid, and the budget this year was 33,000 that we did. Also, they have limited ability to respond to any mid-cycle changes, right? And then reports can lack operational detail for daily decisions. So then we'd have to go back to Wildan, hey, this has changed, that kind of thing. And then not all staff is always engaged in the methodology, leading to those knowledge gaps.
Yeah, that was a big question, the methodology that we'll introduce.
Right. So this is a modern approach, which is an internal rate management. The use of Waterworks, it's a specialized rate setting and financial planning tool. So that's software that I was talking about. Staff can model rates and scenarios continuously. Transparent rate structures and assumptions. There's built-in best practices for the rate setting, reserves, and capital planning. And then, of course, the software support, data entry, and training as part of the ongoing program use. What I want to point out, because it is always beneficial that you have a third party looking at your rates, right? So that's why most people can use those rate consultants. We would have that with this. So even though we get to go in and look and make some changes, things like that on like more of a daily basis instead of having to go back out to them, they still are the ones that are setting this up, and I would have that support. And so we would be able to say, yes, we had a third party look at our rates.
So they would double check your work.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. Benefits.
We know she's the one that does them.
Benefits of the in-house approach, it's a cost savings over time. You get more frequent updates and scenario modeling, faster response, right, to any policy needs or demand changes, stronger internal capacity, institutional knowledge, and then greater transparency. I'm sorry, I'm reading off these slides, but y'all could read them. But anyway, a financial comparison I put up here. So your cost element for that 3 to 5 year study, like I said, ours is 33, so 30,000 plus. That this in-house model, it says 12,000, but I'm going to show you I want option A, so it's 13,495. Then of course, staff time, the consultant model low, in-house, it's moderate, reinvested, scenario modeling, extra cost, it's all included, and the 13,000 training and support is included, and then long-term visibility, it's high, as opposed to them. Now, this is where I just want you to see, I am not going to be able to talk to all these graphs. I can have the representative come and present to the board. They have told me that, and Michael and I went through the presentation, and because I liked it so much that I'm having present to Michael, but I can also have him come here, but I wanted y'all to see these, and I can absolutely send you this PowerPoint after tonight, so y'all can do it more. But so here you can have some scenario modeling. So like we can have a plan, and then we say, okay, let's make a few more changes into the, this is the budget baseline official. We can show the board, like, here's one way to do it, here's another way to do it, right? So we can have that in the software. This is any policy driven rules that are built in. We can put that in. You have your debt service coverage, cash reserve policies, that kind of thing. Operating expenses and budget. Yeah, this is part of the budget. Like, I don't have to do it in Excel, and you don't have to do it in an Excel spreadsheet. So I really like this. And then after that, capital. So remember, also in our budget, we have revenue, O and M, and then I always put that other, spreadsheet that talks about our capital, our CIP. This also, I know, I thought Mr. Benavides would like this. He's always asking about debt. When are we gonna get out? So we can go, this can be something that we will show, you know, in the future, how the debt service is going. And then revenue and rate forecasting. This is what helps us in all these kind of graphs.
Is there a trial period on this program?
No,
No.
no, it's an annual subscription,
Okay.
but we have rate study in our budget every year. And like I said, it's at 33,000 and we always increase it just a little.
You
Right.
toyed around with it, you like it?
Yes.
So so I'll speak to it just because I know, she's talking
I'm
at it.
getting really excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what I've seen that this is all data that you can, you could put in, you can adjust. It'll give you real-time feedback. It'll show you, well, the potential drop-offs could be if we don't make changes, what it's like to make changes, what it's like to maybe make a change and maybe it shifts real time. Oh, sorry.
He's like, stealing my thunder. Go back, go back. So to manage reserves, this is also like our Texas class, right? So that's in the investment report. Y'all get it in the consent agenda, but we can also put it in here. So you can see what we're having to move to pay, take out reserves and that kind of stuff. So that's in there. This, we can do our water and sewer combined since we are starting, gonna have those two, new sewer plants. So that, again, some comparing scenarios.
So we can use this program for the raise, for
impact.
capital, for impact fees?
Yes, and for the budget and for, lots of stuff for $13,000 as opposed to other.
Can we go on that today?
Yes, that's why I put it in with yours. So it was up here. But what I want to say and what Michael was saying, I thought there was one more slide and it isn't on here, but,
Oh, sorry.
what he was talking about, we can change. So let's just say that we have one of, Steph's projects in 2029 that we're gonna have to do. And our cash flow is getting a little low. So we don't think that we're gonna be able to do that in 2029. We can, in this program, I can take it out, put it, say, in 2032 and show y'all how it would raise our cash flow. But it also takes into effect inflation. So it will also show y'all what we'll have to pay for it in 2032 as opposed to doing it in 2029. So it gives us all of that. Yeah, I think it does have depreciation. It's tax. Anyway, so it has all that where we can, as staff, put the information in and bring it to the board, and that way y'all can see everything all in one place and the rest. So the final thoughts and takeaways that she has listed: make informed decisions faster, proactively manage infrastructure needs while balancing rate increases, strengthen financial sustainability, and enhance public trust and transparency.
Ash, what's your take on it?
I think it's great on a go forward basis, but what about looking back and how were they decided having 2025 to impact it? And is it, across the board, is every client treated the same? Every homeowner has the same impact fee? Or if you live, in another subdivision, it's another price? Or if you're a farmer, how did you come up with that impact fee compared to?
It's one, we have one impact.
That's it for everyone?
Yeah, I think that's what Paul was talking about.
Yeah, we
Oh,
discussed
can't-
that earlier.
Yeah,
Ron,
but we can't,
It cannot, impact fees cannot be prejudicial.
and then now you know that's fun. Okay,
Well-
so there's three options, option A, option B, and option C. I am asking y'all to approve option A because it gives us the cost of service analysis and the rate design, and then the other 4 things in there. So you can just see it starts dropping off things. Option B, we wouldn't get the cost of service analysis, and then option C, we wouldn't get even the rate design. So I would like to get option A.
You guys deal with spreadsheets all day long? I have anything to make it better than entering in a spreadsheet because,
Yes.
and then it gets corrupt and you just want to shoot the computer.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's limited.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Yes, it is up for motion.
So is this immediate?
If I get to get it right up
in the morning.
Yeah, I'm going to call that. But no, if we get this, then we can have it implemented in April. So we can start looking at in fact, we could start, things like that. Payment the rates.
I'm fine.
As a reminder.
I'm told by how excited she's about it.
So the money we're spending now will be, so in April, we can, because we're obviously,
We're making a ton of aggressive changes that are gonna be long-term beneficial. Yes, sir, Mr. Roscoe.
But what I want to point out again, like I said, we already have 33,000 in the budget for rate study this year, and I'm bringing it down to 13, so that's 20,000 that
We have a motion from our treasurer, Director Cash. Do I have a second?
Second,
Second, by our Vice President, Director Benavides. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, looks like the ayes have it.
Mr. President, if we could just repeat the motion one more time.
Oh, motion for, option A, for this financial software with Waterworth annual prescription. Okay, we are moving on to L, website update.
Yeah.
So, yes, sir, you can go ahead and take it.
yeah, real simple. We need to, like Mr. Bush suggested, have a contact info for all the directors. Previously, the website that I saw was just the first name and last name initial, no contact info, no nothing. We're here to serve the people, and if they need to be able to access this, and if we don't like it, then we shouldn't be
Yeah,
here.
and that is one of that is one of the more common PIA requests that I've seen we do get, correct? That's for direct emails.
Most recently.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
is there anything that is up to put on the online?
I think prohibits it, but we have to absolutely be using your district email address to do that. Because to the extent we need time to get that situation fixed, we do not want your personal email to be subject to.
Okay.
Yes, so, and of course, y'all already have, crystal clear emails.
And then the other thing, before we forget about it, is on the website, put, comments, suggestions, compliments, and complaints. And that, anybody can go in there and put their suggestion, their compliment, their complaint, and it would CC all the board members. So that way, and then the reason we're doing this, let me give you the life behind it. With the previous manager, things would escalate, and she would deliberately try to block the board from being aware of this.
Yes, sir.
We're building this safeguard so that's not to happen again.
So I think, two ways we answer it by doing the grievance, updates throughout the board meeting. So that way, you're completely informed on what grievances are at what levels. I think that is, something that we're proactively doing through that method. My intent is to, if I'm being honest, our website is one of these cookie cutter websites that, is used by several, very cheap. It's copy and paste. It does have a contact up there and it does give you reasons to reach out to these things. What I feel that the district needs, it needs to be updated on the website. There just needs to be a new website. And then that way we can, make it more streamlined for customers to reach out to us.
You just said that with another one for complaints.
So it's under contact us currently. Go ahead.
You have the ability to change the options that are on there.
Yeah, just put another option, complaints, compliments, suggestions.
What I will ask, and again, you're more than welcome to tell me no, sir, is that, speaking on those terms of trust is to trust that staff is, I guess, not that we're trying to hide anything or that we don't want y'all to be informed, but allow us the ability to receive those complaints, those compliments, whatever they are, and allow us to report that back up versus it's something that y'all constantly under,
I agree with you. We won't be micromanaged, nor will we be stepping in your
Yes,
toes. And I'm pretty sure after the 50th complaint, most of the board members are not gonna want to look at the complaints anyway. But my point behind it is we don't want things to escalate to the point that they've got to the board. And this is a safeguard we're building into that. And if somebody says, hey, I'm gonna sue you because of this, board probably listen to that.
So,
So we need a CSR, you don't get all the links.
right,
I will tell you, and I know I've told you all that because I've been in HR. Whenever you have something like this, you have to ensure that you answer every single one.
And that's my issue. The thing is, if someone sends me a question, I can't speak on behalf of the board. So I don't want to give them an answer and then later you're like, so having your email, okay, that's fine. But the complaint shouldn't come to me. They should come to everyone. So we can put an email address on there anyway, but let the public know we can't answer them.
Critically important and also these would be, if we proceed to have these emailed to board members, they need to be blind copy, not carbon copy. And the board member should not talk amongst themselves about any of these outside of an open meeting.
Exactly.
At risk of violating the public.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Can we just have an email?
They all have access to.
Yes.
We could do that. That is something that our IT can set up, because she's done it for us, is where we can create where that email goes into, right? A shared folder that the board has, permissions to get into, that way you can see the emails as they come.
And realistically, very few board members will go in there. Who wants to deliberately go look at a problem?
You. That was the thing that we kind of laughed about. I was like, where does he get this picture? And you appreciate that engagement, sir. And it's not that, you know, we joke about it and stuff like that, but I can assure you that the staff and myself specifically are committed to meet that request, and do it in a way that eventually that you just see that.
The blind copy is a great idea. Go ahead and do the blind copy. If the board members want to discuss it in an open meeting, great. If they don't just want to ignore it, great. But we're trying to avoid escalating to the point that things escalated to before.
Yeah, and I understand that, certainly. I understand
I'm
that.
gonna do
The rub there. So I think what we'll do is well, there's already the crystal, when somebody puts something on the website for an inquiry, where does it go? It goes to the Crystal Clear or CCSUD one?
If it's through the website, it goes directly to me. I have the ability to be able to put more emails on there, but it's usually me that will address or send it to a customer service representative.
Well, that one, you find it there.
Anybody else? I'm excuse.
Okay, so before they do the motion, are we gonna create one that they all are able to just go in and see, or are we gonna add them all as blind copy?
That blind copy, I think is a great idea.
Well, and the thing is, you're gonna piss customers off. Like, I keep emailing Cynthia and she's not responding. Well, they can't respond.
Well, and that's what I mean, we're gonna piss them off on us if we can't keep up, right? So that's my thing, and maybe, I don't know, can we find some wording, like maybe not suggestions, because then we have to answer. If we will irritate our customers, I don't say it's the law we have to answer, but we will irritate them if we're not allowed, or if we don't have the time to answer.
What if
Take
you
their
could
suggestions,
contact
say, I'm
us
sorry, this is.
and just the blind copies?
Yeah, oh yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, I think that's good.
So are we doing it through adding on the website? You don't want to add it through the website, or you don't want email, like an extra email box that our IT can set up and then add to your Crystal Clear email?
I think if we do the contact us and then the blind copy to all the members, that'd be the easy one. That way they got a complaint, they can get in touch there, or they got because you said suggestions you got to answer. Whereas contact us, well, it's just to contact us.
Yeah.
You can do that through.
I can see what our website abilities have.
Well, who will answer the questions?
We still will.
We staff will still
But
answer.
you will see it, so you can ask about it, or, you know,
got it.
before,
Follow up.
like Mr. Benavides said, it doesn't get escalated without no.
The director of that raises a very valid point, which is it should be staff's responsibility to address this.
Oh, absolutely.
The board members.
And they put that in red and bold.
They're not
I mean, we can't respond.
Right.
You're gonna piss, I mean, I would be pissed off. I'm sending you an email, you're not answering me. So why have an email address out there?
Not anymore.
But no, it was blind, we were blind copying, so they're not gonna know that it's coming to them.
Right.
It's just gonna keep y'all abreast of the situation.
Everything is
Totally agree with you.
alrighty, so, I don't think there needs to be a motion. I think we'll just, staff understands the guidance, and we will, follow up with where we're at with that. I think I send you.
ETA for that to take place?
I'll be on vacation next week.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, it's my second birthday. It won't take me that long to research the website.
Make sure done.
Yeah, a few weeks.
Okay, for sure.
And then as far as getting us set up, again, like Scott had asked us here, but then you know, I can't even it tells you my password's wrong. So
Yeah, we're gonna have to get with Sarah and IT. She, I don't- honestly, I think she's back tomorrow. She went to a wedding. But whatever, but we will make sure that she knows that, because I think there's a couple of payment issues, because, yeah. I know some of you didn't even ever get in, but some of you been in, and now it's messed up.
And I've been trying to get these board packets to the first meetings. I don't want to go past that just because I don't want anything to compromise anything else. So, no motion on that, so we can move on to. Meetings? Yes, sir. That was the thing that you had in your email.
Yeah, what we wanted to do is to post the meetings, so that way the public.
Yes, sir. So that is our intent, is to eventually either create a link through the website and or even if we have to create a Facebook page, the intent is to.
We already got a Facebook page.
Or is that a YouTube page?
YouTube, yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's where I know a bunch of
Yes, sir.
SUVs or whatever.
Yes, sir.
YouTube.
So this is 100% the intent of this is to get it out there for the public.
Are we gonna have the strategic meetings also posted or?
We can, yes, sir. So that first one was like very much a guinea pig, and I would even say this one is to an extent. And we just want to ensure that we're doing it correctly, we're not doing it halfway, and that there does need to be like any fancy editing to show what the meeting's about or play some music in the way, before, whatever, right?
The fact that you got the separate reporter, that's perfect, because.
Yes, sir.
Owls are.
Yes, sir.
The audience.
Which is,
So that's gonna be perfect.
but yes, sir. So a lot of that is trying to, like, how do we line that up with the presentations? How do we line that up? Because when we show the presentations on there, they should show on the recording, and except the crowd gets pushed to the right. So it's about, what can we see, what we can't see. So we are working toward that 1000% transparency. This is just the second meeting that we've utilized the cameras, and we will get better from here for sure.
Okay, so
It's been about
we're
2
gonna
hours
do,
today.
and you, man,
I spent about 2 hours today with Michael in here.
Yeah, we were literally like that.
Okay, where's it now? Where's it
What is
now?
it like? No, we definitely been putting the.
we were gonna do a YouTube channel?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And again, that doesn't necessarily need to be a motion. Again, to me, the broader, I am working with somebody that specializes in social media, specializes in that currently works with a neighboring utility, a pretty big neighboring utility. And she does work on the side. She intends to put a 12-month plan, and that she's gonna come to the next board meeting and probably can bring it to the strategic rules committee. And she plans to give a quick demonstration on the possibilities for, I know Mrs. Velasquez, one of her things, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn's, and then again we need to we need to get away from that quote unquote cookie cutter website and invest or budget for next year something that is more user friendly. It's easier for the customers to see where to get to on certain items. So I think that's going to be something that we get into, but staff is again working on getting this transparency out there and kind of bringing crystal clear to the 20th century. So that's that.
All right, moving on to N, update discussion of possible action, request for quotation for professional services. This is actually, something that I had requested to be put on the agenda. So I had a request from actually several different directors, to look for a new lawyer. And, the thinking behind it is basically just new board, new lawyer. Now, I will say that it's on today's agenda for us to kind of discuss what that would look like, so as you can see, we do have a new lawyer. And I do think that Mr. Howard Howard's fine. I think he did a fabulous job. I think that's a very sharp individual, so it's up to the board. Now, what our options are is that we do have Howard's now our guy, but he is with the same firm, so the options is basically work with Howard a little bit, see if we like him, or we could go out for quotes for a new law firm. That is kind of, my personal preference is I'd like Howard, but it's a board decision, so.
So if I may, and again, speaking to the board, this was an aggressive, again, move pivot by the staff, knowing that, again, we don't have to play bingo with whether he's gonna say he's tired, whether he said it's been a long day or anything like that. Mr. Slobodin clearly has a very extensive history with dealing with large organizations and their boards. My thing, sir, when we talked is, if staff understands that RFQs are, that they're good business practice. You want to do them. We need to do them. It's part of, it's what's written in the code for us to do. But with that being said, the timing for me is my kind of thing is with these litigations that we have coming up relatively quick, coming up in March and May, that we would at least see these things through. And then at that point, if we're still wishy-washy, or if we're not, Mr. Slobodan, or is still not meeting the expectations of the new board, then of course staff won't hesitate to draft an RFQ letter, which again, current legal will still help with, and that'll be something that we can go out and do. So that's just my perspective from staff. I think that's kind of what we agreed, talked about. So that is, bless you, sir. That is our staff standpoint. So again, this is up to the board.
So, as a perspective from an attorney,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm also a brand new board member, and there are a bunch of new board members. I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. From what I've heard today, they've been very successful. And I think we're gonna be in a red book by now with your precedent setting. So at that point, I feel like, let's hang tight and let them keep going. I mean, because it's gonna take another firm months and months, maybe a year to get up to speed on what's going on, what contracts we have out in the ether. So my feeling is we leave it as is.
Go ahead.
I agree, and it was transparent, it's very clear, it tells us everything that's going on, they have a handle on it. Whereas before, it wasn't as clear, and, now we know where we stand on all of our litigation, period. Where it was before we didn't have a full picture.
Yeah, and I think for me, I kind of went on my own and kind of researched some different law firms and stuff, and as far as what they do, they're very well respected. I believe that there was, at least for me, a misconception of who was calling the shots. And I believe that with the current board and with the current management, I mean, I have all of the confidence in the law firm.
I have my reserves. First time I'm meeting you, first time I'm dealing with you.
Sure.
So based on my previous experience with your law firm and its representative, it was very clear he was working hand in glove with Regina. The man lied straight out a couple of times, straight out lied. Period. No ifs and buts. You can quote me on that. And furthermore, I saw several instances where he attempted to influence the decisions of the board rather than say, hey, I'm here to serve the board. No, it was
That is true. That was the main reason. He spoke as a board member, not an attorney. But you did great. I mean,
well, so far it's first time.
well, right.
Now, I would definitely withhold judgment because yes, you are experienced. Yes, your firm has a lot of contacts with other SUDs and so forth. And that in itself brings us back to problems that we do have sway and influence in industry-wide. The decisions that are made by boards. And I clearly saw Shan trying to influence that. And I was wondering, is it Shan trying to influence this? No, it wasn't Shan. Shan didn't have the chutzpah for it. He was getting his orders from somewhere else. And he was attempting to influence that. And I can see that. If you guys represent 15 other boards, hey, steer the whole industry this way or steer it that way. You whisper in the ears. And so, no, I'm not 100% sold yet on that. I'll reserve judgment on that. That's what I have to say about it.
It doesn't really sound like the board's going out for any kind of RFP or to be, or at least right now. I mean,
at least right now.
And so, we appreciate you, Mr. Howard, and I look forward to working with you.
I appreciate the opportunity to work with this organization, and I am here to represent this organization. And to give this organization the benefit of my opinions, but the ultimate decision maker was the folks that are there.
Great, thank you. Okay, well then now, well, let's see, I don't know, do we want to go ahead and knock out the, next meeting and stuff? Or do we want to do the executive session and then knock it out, or? What do you think?
Not this, I mean, we just do executive session and be done.
Okay, let's go ahead and just fill it for, so item 7, the board may see that there's no there's no March meeting. And basically that's because that's spring break, because we usually have that meeting. Those either gonna be moving way up or moving way back, so my suggestion is let's force those break is coming back at 8 o'clock. So is that okay, everybody?
And we miss this?
Yeah, well, I mean, you already took November. December, now you want another one.
You can show up.
Yeah, yeah, just, we still have the Rules and Regulations Committee again, the Finance Committee is still an option, you know, especially with data. Mr. Cash, if you're interested in that. Mrs. Velasquez heads up the Administrative Committee. She's not here, but again, I will reach out to her to see if there's anything she wants to tackle. And then, and the other thing that's gonna be happening in March is again, Brad's graduation from the Emerging Leaders Program for TRWA. And, again, that is something to really be proud of as an organization. Again, I went through it. It was instrumental for myself. Yesenia went through it. So and we intend to, in the off years, have at least one staff continue to represent us at the Texas level like that. So, I am a coach again to somebody else near Gunbarrel City. So I do look forward to go seeing him graduate as well. And we just, we appreciate that opportunity to, again, take into the account the spring break for y'all, vacation and everything else. And, we look forward to April being a very, very productive meeting.
That's great. For future items, before I forget, can we include a remote logging in? Like, for example, Ms. Patterson's pretty busy. Maybe one day she needs to open up her laptop and be here, so we can discuss that at least.
Sure, yeah. Yes, and I'll be happy to look into that in the interim as well, just to make sure there's an open meetings act. We just want to make sure.
I think if she said can do that, we should be okay. The rules are different.
I just want to look.
Okay.
I would like to look so that I can.
Yeah.
To the extent there are requirements, I can inform.
Yeah.
So if any person wants it, you know, just email me. You know, in the past, me and Joseph would ask for things to be put on there, and they would say no, but whether I like it or not, I put it on there. So even like I lost the one I didn't want, but I mean, I still get it on there. So just I'm sorry. So just
You giving me that opportunity to speak on it in the beginning, in the first place.
So just to confirm, we're set for April 23rd at 6:30, regular time.
Yes, sir.
Go 5 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Again, y'all have that flexibility to change the time right now if y'all wanted to. We can put that in right now and say, hey, we're gonna start at 6.
Well, let me ask you if, because I know we were kind of talking with the crowd that we were possibly going to be talking about the stage 4 water at that point in time. I'm anticipating as many, if not more.
We're gonna have to have it outside.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, that's a good point, because if we have a data center and whether we do the stage 4 or not, I should on there just to talk about.
Yes.
Man, maybe we should look at that. I mean, is that a possibility?
Yes, sir. So the board just has to set the location and the time.
Good idea.
So.
And I think maybe even, I kind of like starting a little bit earlier too, maybe not 4:30 or 5.
So, is that something, Howard, that we can come back to?
Absolutely flexible. You know, it really, as far as the day goes, we'll set the day now, but time and location, that can be determined, and that's just a matter that has to be posted, you know, exactly.
The staff can go scout some locations. Mr. Speaker, you got me, Grant. But or Mr. Grant, you got a fence line. Just kidding. But no, staff will scout. Yes, ma'am. Staff will scout some locations and then come back relatively sooner than later, so that way if that's not something that we're questioning, hey, where we're going to do it at. So that is something we'll work at. But we'll keep April 23rd, and then the rest will be TBD.
Okay, all right, well, that's great, and I'm going to, stop, we're going to go to the close, to get a regular meeting at 10:30, 8 p.m. We're gonna go into executive session. We're back in open session. Before we begin, do I have a motion in regards to our new general manager's salary?
Yes, I would motion that we, give, Mr. Saldana a 19.75% pay.
Motion by Director Roscoe,
Second.
second by Vice President Benavides. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Looks like the ayes have it.
Thank y'all.
Now, Jennifer, if you could leave the room, please. Yes. First off, congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir. And express from the bottom of my heart, not express.
Weller, he's a hell of a guy. You have our full support.
Thank you so much.
We really want you to give Jennifer a raise.
Yes, sir. I'll make it happen.
You bring it back?
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
She wanted to go eat the old bathroom.
Yeah. Sound pretty there.
Okay, what else do we have to do? That's it.
Signature.
So means
One, she missed.
All right, ready to adjourn. 57. Yay.